Joined now by Michael McGuan. And Mick, it's fair to say I think this is the form team of the competition, the Western Bulldogs.
Yeah, for sure, Dennis. They've certainly been the measuring stick all year, and at their record 9-2 at this stage, they are the team who's jumped out of the blocks in the first half of the season. They've had great consistent contributors all year. You see Danny Southern, whether he plays in the back line or being used in the forward half, he's been a consistent contributor all year. Unfortunately, Tony Liberatore isn't out there today, but Chris Grant is another great player who's really stood up in certain situations. The defence has been stable, and that's one thing that's sort of been a feature of their game. They've had that stability in their makeup. Paul Hudson's been a great contributor all year. We look at Scott West. He's been a form player all year. Yep. He's been consistent ball winner. I think the duel between Scott Wynn and also Spider Burton will be a highlight of today's match.
Paul Hudson in very good form as well. He's kicked a goal in every game this season.
Yeah, he is a opportunist across the half-forward line. He invariably kicks the goal that counts from a set shot or a running shot, but he is a valuable contributor to the Western Bulldogs team.
OK, you tell me, why do the Dockers do so well against the Bulldogs?
Yeah, I think they play a similar pattern, Dennis. They certainly run the ball, and I think today we'll certainly see a lot of bouncing of the ball in this particular contest. Both sides like to run and carry the ball. They've certainly both sides have taken the game to a new dimension in the running stakes, but the Fremantle Dockers certainly match up considerably well in the midfield against the Western Bulldogs team.
Will it be physical this afternoon?
I think it will be a physical contest, particularly early. I think the Western Bulldogs have certainly got to jump into the contest in the physical stakes because they do pride themselves in that area of the game. And Fremantle, as we know, once they get up and going, they play with that fair amount of flair. Brad Dodd, number 12, he's been the revelation this year. He's been a sensational contributor for the Fremantle team. Also, Clive Waterhouse and James Clennett, a two-pronged attack up in the front half. They've been goal kickers for the Fremantle team over the course of the year. But as I stipulated earlier, the duel between Matthew Burton and also Scott Wynd, I wouldn't be surprised to see Terry Wallace use also Luke Darcy trying to nullify Burton's influence on this contest.
Do you think Fremantle will try and tag one or two players today? It's not in their nature normally.
Yeah, it's not normally in their nature. I wouldn't be surprised if actually the Western Bulldogs do the tagging. I think they need that sort of ingredient in their game. They like being the hunters, and I think that hunter versus the hunted philosophy certainly suits the Western Bulldogs more opposed to the Fremantle Dockers.
I certainly would like Steve O'Reilly to find some form. He's been struggling. Alongside him, Anthony Jones. Anthony Jones likely to get the job on Chris Grant this afternoon. Jones in form, but that's one of the toughest assignments in footy.
Yeah, for sure. Jones is an athletic type, probably plays taller than his inches actually belie him, but he's certainly a consistent player. He will probably have the job on Chris Grant today, and if he wins that particular one-on-one contest, no doubt the Docker team has certainly got a chance today.
Well, it could be overstating it, but I get the feeling if the Dockers can win this game, they're a chance for the finals. You saw them against Collingwood, a game they should have won. They're travelling pretty well. This could be a make-or-break game, and I know they like their chances.
Yeah, I totally agree with you there, Dennis. I've seen them over the last couple of weeks, and when you see them at first hand and you see what they're capable of doing when they get up and going, jump into the contest, and when they win first access to the ball through Burton in the midfield, naturally they'll miss Fletcher in that sort of centre square contest, but I think the peripheral players really stand up when the time sort of presents itself, and they've got a chance today.
So we're set to go. It's round 12. The Dockers and the Bulldogs back with all of the action. Looking forward to it right after this. Stevie Wallace, one of the best dogs ever. So we're set to go, as predicted. Jones on Grant. Jose, you saw, getting tangled with Matthew Burton. The long and the short of it before the first bounce. A lot was said there, so away we go. Bulldogs running right to left. Good bounce too. Wynd and Burton. Burton clean possession, got the hand pass away. Romero quickly down towards centre half forward, taken by Darcy across the body. Inside the 50, coming up to meet the ball was Jones. Left behind, Bond, slickly away. Hudson's got it now. Hand passes Goldwood. Back there is Chisholm. Spots a man further afield. Not hard to spot, but too high. Not the man, the kick. It comes to Wynd. Hand passes across to support. Falling to the ground is Brown. Can't keep it in. And the boundary throw in just outside the 50 then. Pretty day in Melbourne today. Expected top 15. It's currently 15. Wynd hooks it down behind. Burton got it from Norrish. Falling to the ground, Dodd. Norrish soccers off the deck only as far as West. Across field. Well played by Gale. Coming through strongly. Gale's hand pass just misses the target. This is Croft. Good evasion. Hand passes back towards the middle. Fumble from Smith. Hasn't got the ball now, Smith. works his way through midfield, left it behind. Still time to go back and get it. Collingwood, who played so well last week. Garlick was there, but over his head, and called out of it by Chris Grant.
Just quickly, Dennis, while Chris Grant's lining up for his goal, the wind is reasonably strong, blowing towards the Doggies' end. Maybe about a 2 or 3 goal breeze, but it's very swirly here at Optus Oval with this new legend stand down there. So if they keep the ball low, kicking against the wind, you can get distance, but kick it high, I'm sure Chris Grant will have to adjust to the breeze.
He'll kick from about 35 metres out, directly in front. They'll be woofing after that one.
Yeah, promising start here by the Western Bulldogs. They've certainly controlled the first minute of play. They've certainly jumped in this contest, but it's Chris Grant who could be the danger player in this contest, naturally opposed to Jones, as we spoke about pre-match. But it's just an important role that Jones has got to play. He's got to nullify the influence that Chris Grant can certainly imply in this game. But important there to see Rowan Smith getting his hands on the ball, kept his balance in the contest. Collingwood got the fall forward. Terrific kick in the path of Chris Grant.
So the Bulldogs with the aid of the breeze. Grant lining up at full forward, getting the first. Dockers win the second centre bounce. Kick it, bounces off him. Great tackle there from Tick onto Garlick. And the umpire in to bounce it. So Grant lining up at full forward. Croft at centre half forward. Darcy in the forward pocket. So all the talls there. And there's Andrew Wills starting on the bench. This time last year, he'd had 15 Brownlow medal votes to his name. Starts on the bench, the Dogs. Garlick. Can't get it. Norris forward. Free kick to Norris. Advantage to kick it. Advantage not there, says the umpire, so it'll come back. So Jason Norwich, one of the hard-working midfielders for the Dockers, on out wide at Riley. Settles. Tosses up high towards centre forward. Contest form. No contest, really. The ball floats over the back. Waterhouse charges on it with aggression. Foot to the ball, but just to the near side and the one behind. So the Dockers up into a 2 or 3 goal breeze and get their first score, the one behind.
And also, it's fairly evident early in this game that Spider Burton's trying to impose his will on Scotty Wynn. He's dictating where his actual starting point is. He's trying to push forward as much as he can and trying to get Scotty Wynn out of that area so he doesn't have much influence in the marking contest when they go forward, the Dockers.
Montgomery around the outer side. Waterhouse knocked it down. Romero slid in there. Gale slips it away nicely. Kick it. Runs inside the 50. This kick for the lead. Now he's missed by a mile. Out of bounds on the full from the left full forward pocket. Short one comes in. Romero has it. Got it from Montgomery. Jose, wonderful season. Averaging 25 possessions a game like Scotty West. A season high of 36 against North Melbourne. Round 7 against his old club. He would have liked that. This is Parker. Looping hand pass. Gale. Waterhouse. Waterhouse about 60 metres from goal. Dragged down. Got the hand pass away. Norris comes back to Gale. Gale runs to 50. Acute angle. Sends it right up towards the kick-off line. In front. Almost the grab there to Bandy. Sliding in is Sinclair. Over the top and shoveling it out eventually was Montgomery. Away comes Smith. Clever hand pass. Here's a chance now. Hudson dragged down. It spills back towards Smith. Tried to go again back to Hudson. Eventually shovels it out, but has been penalised for holding the ball.
So Smith just dragging it back in the second time. McGovern to take the free kick. Bandy's the target in the goal square. McGovern ignores that. Chips across towards the centre to Gale. He's already carried the ball into 50 a couple of times early in the game, Gale. So providing run from half back. This time just settling at centre half back. The high kick right to the square. It's actually going to carry over. It's a goal. That's a great kick into the breeze. So the Dockers get there first. Michael Gale, a set shot from centre half forward, carries over the top of everybody.
Yeah, terrific kick there by Mark Gale. He certainly assessed his options, but he actually took it upon himself to have a shot on goal, as witnessed by the replay. He'd seen Hunter lead at him, but he took it upon himself to kick long directly at the goals. And as we know here at Optus Oval, if you get the ball sort of within 50 metres from goal, kicking to that end of the ground, if you keep the ball low and kick hard through the line of the ball, more often the stand sort of acts as a cover and the wind doesn't come into play.
Well, obviously, that breeze not exactly a gale. The hand pass comes out from Wine, taken by Dodd, feeds it back. Here's Parker. Parker down towards half forward. Waterhouse, almost a clever mark, battles after it. Over the top is Curley. That's got to be holding it. Todd Curley will get the free.
Well, they've been
some
quick.
dispute.
They've been quick. Smith was pinged very quickly too, so players need to be awake up to the way the umpires are interpreting the rule, Dennis.
Todd Curley, former West Perth player, drives it down towards half forward. O'Reilly. Uncontested eventually. Dodd, who started well, kicks the ball out wide. Sinclair leads back in the race, needs a bounce and got it. Montgomery is closing. Sinclair gets the kick off, and a clever mark is taken low down by Clement. Doc is looking sharp now, playing with energy. Kick comes inside the 50, and Hunter goes back and takes the mark only about 30 metres out. Kingsley Hunter.
There's certainly a promising player is Kingsley Hunter. He's very, very good in the marking contest. He's opposed to Stephen Crediuk today, and naturally he'll know that he's in for a one-on-one contest throughout the course of the event. But that's a terrific judge mark. Backed himself to push back into the contest and took a well-judged mark.
Dockers lead by a point. Will it be 7 or 2? And that's close. I think it's a goal. It is.
And just to start, the Fremantle Dockers team wanted. Got to get the couple of early goals to nullify the crowd influence when you're playing away from home. But more importantly, they're winning the ball. And as Dennis described in the early part of the call, they are certainly playing with a fair amount of energy. They are working hard extremely off the ball, and they're getting the ball quickly into the part of the ground where Hunter and co can certainly work to advantage. And that's what you've got to do, kick goals when it presents itself.
So the Dockers start with the momentum in the first quarter. The last 2 weeks, it's been the Bulldogs. They've kicked 8 goals in each of their last 2 first quarters. But the Dockers very aggressive at the ball in the opening part of this game and using it sharply. Norrish takes it from Dodd just to the outer side. Sinclair can't control the ball on that side of the ground, and the ball will be thrown in.
Wheels, just a quick one. I think this win will suit the Dockers because they're traditionally a team that will run the ball, and you need to run the ball against the breeze as well as kicking it low, as Mickey McGuine suggested.
Yeah, Mick mentioned earlier, I think it will be a heap of running today. Both these sides very pronounced in that part of the game, but a free kick back off the ball. Going to Scott West. One of the very busy midfielders for the Dogs. On his left foot, kicks into centre half forward. Curley has floated down there with Waterhouse. Now he's got some freedom at half forward in towards Grant. The kick doesn't get there. Grant does well with the right hand. Garlick to Colin 5 goals last week. Bounces towards the square. Chisholm back. Scotty Chisholm wastes no time. Rebounds it back out to the near side. The kick's nowhere near good enough. Jones can't get anywhere near it. Ramiro, Smith, Brown, Nathan Brown chips in towards Darcy very nicely. So Chisholm coming out of defence. The kick not good enough. And the Bulldogs now with the opportunity. Darcy just 2 goals a couple of times this year. Hasn't been the high goal scoring player that he has been in the past. In short to Smith. Perfect. Off he goes. Couple of steps. 55. Not a good kick. It's wobbled, but it's held its line. The Dogs have got 2. So Rowan Smith from outside 50 wobbled it. It wasn't the classical one off the boot, Mick.
Certainly wasn't, Terry, but it just never ceases to amaze me when a defender like Scotty Chisholm in that part of the ground took a well-judged mark, pushed back into the area of the goal that Colin Hook had a shot with, didn't balance himself, tried to hurry the ball on. All of a sudden, he created a turnover. Darcy had the ball, went in the centre corridor to Rowan Smith. And as you said, Terry, all he had to do was kick the goal.
Dockers by a point then. Wind, knocked it down. Callaghan in the road, hurriedly onto the boot. Back goes West, met by Clement. Got the hand pass away to Cameron. He's at centre half back, swings it out wide. Beautiful finish. Found Brown. He's on the wing. Nathan Brown, promising youngster, pulls it back towards the middle. Bond in best position, took the mark. Short one out to Gale. Jones is moving for him down the ground. Gale decides to run it up, comes back to Chisholm. Chisholm spots Waterhouse. Waterhouse is on the wing. Clive Waterhouse to Callahan. Sent him away on his left foot. Not a particularly good kick, though. It wanders down towards the pocket. In there was Bandy. Cameron, good pick up, got the hand pass away. Johnson immediately is hot, dragged down by Kickett. Scramble to kick forward. Hudson tried to crash his way through. It comes to Sinclair. Sinclair across the body. Southern dropped the mark. Coming through Johnson. Feeds it off nicely to Brown. Brown across half back. One out contest. Well done by Dodd, the youngster. Twice. Still Dodd. Garlick fought back well. Ties it up. Strong play by Garlick. Now Johnson, a bounce on the wing, close to the boundary line, hand passes it across. And just a question for Matty Dent down there on the boundary. Matthew, can you hear me?
Yes.
Just a query about that forward line for the Dockers. Each one of the players down there for the Dockers taller than the man they're on. It could be a problem later in the day, particularly with the breeze. Look at that. You see a couple of them there. Every one of the 5 or 6 giving away some size in that defence.
Yes, at the moment it does seem that way, but hopefully when the ball does come to the ground that we're able to we'll get the ball off the ground and run it down as quick as we can.
They're doing that now. Smith got it to Ramiro, and Brown will go into an open goal.
Yeah, terrific build-up once again by the Western Bulldogs. They certainly are a hard-running team. And it's guys like Jose Ramiro, Johnson and Smith, certainly when they seem to win enough of the ball around the pack situations. As we see here, Smith involved, also Ramiro had the presence of mind. He could have had a shot for goal, but he released the handball to Brown, who's been very good in the early stages of this game. He is a multiple goal kicker when he gets the opportunity to kick, and very invariably he doesn't miss them. Good build-up by the Western Bulldogs.
So Nathan Brown 4 kicks already. Paul DiMartino waits his chance. Brown working from half back to half forward. So the Dogs now back in front. McGovern just out the back. Parker from half back on out wide towards Kickett. Johnson. Bit of pace between this pair. Johnson on the left foot, keeping towards the boundary line. Croft from behind. Dodd courageously in front. Takes the brunt of it. Montgomery. Collingwood. Throws it over towards Garlick, runs into Burton. Can't get it on out, flicks it on out wide now. Now Dodd has some space. Needs to make something out of this. Runs into trouble and actually gives it across to Montgomery. Free kick back to Dodd, no advantage to the Dockers. And the game just going nowhere there for a couple of seconds. So Dodd, who's been playing in front position more often than not here this afternoon, kicks well into the forward line, over the top of Hunter. Cameron fumbles uncharacteristically, comes back again. Hunter's there to tie it up, and the ball will be bounced just 1 metre in from the boundary line. Leon Cameron, one of those defenders that Dennis was speaking about, who's standing a taller forward, often asked to do that. Bounce right on the line. Crediot, Clement does well, drags the ball back into play at centre forward very well, and O'Reilly takes the mark. Playing in defence, has floated on down against Darcy.
It's interesting to see there, Terry. Actually, it was Darcy who ran up the ground trying to probably get O'Reilly out of the territory that he's familiar with. And just luck or good fortune. Fortune probably favours the brave. He did the disciplined thing, followed his man into the forward part of the ground. All of a sudden, he's got a chance to kick a goal for the Dockers.
Well, this is unfamiliar territory for Stephen O'Reilly. We just saw game number 107. He's only kicked 9 goals in his career. An important one for the Dockers. The Western Bulldogs seemingly with the advantage of the breeze. Dockers going for goal number 3 up into it. It's a good steady kick. I think it's faded across to the left and just the one behind.
I think that just goes to show when you do give the ball a little bit of elevation kicking into the wind at the Hyundai end at the Optus Oval, it just goes to show that you've got to really punch the ball into that part of the ground, otherwise the wind will create havoc.
Physiotherapist Ian Lowther looking the most nervous of everybody on the bench, and he's not playing. Here's Cameron to himself, to the pocket, long to the wing then. O'Reilly though queuing up in front of Burton. Down towards right half forward. O'Reilly goes looking for Bandy. Southern right there, waiting behind Ramiro. Got it to West. Wine sold into trouble. Taken front on by Kickett. Loose ball across half back. Garlick dives on top of it. Gets it away to West. Scotty West from half back down towards half forward. Colinook and Bond. This will be interesting. Grant coming up to meet them. Bond did well. Bond out towards the boundary. Gained about 5 metres. Chisholm back to Bond. Well worked. 3 against 2. The numbers counted there over the top. Gale, who started very well. Classy customer. Kicking it down towards half forward. Big jump from Clement. And Clement has marked about 60 metres out.
He's really giving them something across half forward as James Clement drives it back in now towards 20 metres out from goal. Southern backs into the contest. Sinclair wrapped up in the tackle. That ball's going nowhere and the umpire will come into bounds. Umpire Steve Handley, one of the men in charge there, one of the younger umpires, just over 20 games. Ball bounced 30 metres out. Fremantle goal. Free kick to Bandy. He took the front position. Wine bustling to try and get towards the ball. Gave the free kick away.
Well, Hunter might have been stiff just moments before anyway, I thought, in the marking contest. So has a way of evening itself out.
They've started very well, Dennis. The Dockers into the breeze and carrying the ball from deep in defence. So Daniel Bandy, 2 goals, 3 last week. He's opened up pretty well. He's kicked his first for the afternoon. So the Dockers now with 3 to match the Western Bulldogs with 3.
Yeah, certainly a promising start by the Fremantle team, but it just goes to show when you win front position in those set play situations, or stop play situations, I should say. Scotty Wynn just over-finessed in that ruck contest. The left arm comes across the shoulder of Bandy. All you got to do in that part of the ground, win front possession, try to get first hands on the ball. Result was a free kick, reckless sort of tackle, head-eye tackle to Bandy, went back and kicked a goal.
So the Fremantle Dockers lead it by 2 points. 8 minutes out from quarter time, and the Dockers working into a breeze. Burton knocked it down. Croft came up to meet it. Collides there with McGovern. Norris tried to dig it out. West did well. Slickly away to Garlick. Good pressure from the Dockers, but eventually they break the shackles. Collinhook down towards half forward. Croft has it. Running past is Smith, sold into trouble. Got by McGovern though. Got by Norris. Beautiful finish, his second goal. Well, they should have got him.
Yeah, that's the importance. When you've got the opportunity to tackle, you must lay the tackle. The more times you break tackles, invariably it results in an opposition getting a chance to kick a goal. As we see, a promising build-up by the Western Bulldogs team. Used the ball very effectively short. Croft ran forward, but amazing. Ramiro and Smith, once again, when they see there's the opportunity to run and charge into the forward 50, when there's space involved, they certainly tear into that part of the ground. And as Terry said, Dennis said, it's the second goal of the opening quarter for Rowan Smith.
So the lead has already changed 5 times in the first quarter. 7.5 minutes of play left. Wine gets it down to the left, but Gale, who's been busy on the outer side, has his 7th disposal to Parker, to half forward. Curley charging the ball down. Clement stays with it, pushes on back out towards Sinclair, but it's over the line and out. So the ball to be thrown in on the outer side. Todd Curley, every game for the Bulldogs. A very, very good player. A couple of games with Collingwood a few years ago, then back to Perth, but now with the Dogs doing well. Brown playing at half forward, but getting well up back into defence. Kicks the ball to half forward. Collinhook, Bond right with him. Hudson, Sinclair aggressive at the man and the ball, wins a boundary thrown. Paul Hudson, the goal scorer for the Western Bulldogs. 5 goals in that game against West Coast. Wind over the back. Sinclair, another disposal out. Only as far as West. Wants to get it moving. Uses Cameron, left foot. Drops it inboard to Wind.
He plays on immediately. That was ambitious. Sinclair got him down. Socket off the ground down towards half forward. In the road though is McGovern to Chisholm. Out wide to Callaghan. Great opportunity here for the Dockers. Callaghan sweeping hand pass. O'Reilly can run inside the 50. Gets it across to Kickett, who slipped over. Now he's got a problem. Spills it wide. Gale. Gale to Clement. Clement the look away hand pass. Well, they're building across half forward. Eventually Callaghan kicks it down towards full forward. Bandy knocked away by Southern. Wines in front of the pack. Could have been taken high there, James Clement. Held to him, says the umpire. That was interesting. Wind a little uncertain how to allay the tackle there. Watch it again.
That's
well,
just the bull at the gate stuff,
yeah,
Dennis.
I suppose good enough. Curley dragged down, got the hand pass out.
Wills on the ground from the interchange bench to Sinclair. looking for something on the left foot, decides to toss it on up high. That's the good option. Hunter, Prediok gets the spoil in. Flicked back on out. Nathan Brown again, another disposal. Racking up possessions. That's 6. Southern makes a bit of a meal of this one. Gale stays with him. We're up. The 50-gamer stays in the contest. Kicks towards the wing. Collingwood will rove. Garlick in front. Dodd does the spoiling, but gives a free kick away in the process. Simon Garlick, another Bulldog to play every game. 14 players have played every game, and 17 have played at least 9 of the 11, so a very consistent lineup this year. Smith, 2 goals already. Short to Ramiro, as he always does, covering a lot of ground, Jose Ramiro. Half forward flank, Jason Norwich standing the mark.
Ramiro into the pocket. Chris Grant on the lead. Hard against the line, Grant. Only Fraser Gehrig and Wayne Carey have taken more marks this season. The season's high 14 twice against Carlton round 2, Hawthorn round 8. There's Cameron offering. That's ignored. Croft. But Grant decides to now go short to Hudson.
Mick, I think that displays that the Bulldogs lack height in their forward line. We've already mentioned they lack height in the back line. You know, there was just no option there for Grant other than to wait for a short one or have the long shot. Without a tall option in there, he's very restricted.
Yeah, for sure, Terry, but that's great team discipline to do that. Just hold the ball up, wait till one of your teammates get free, and he gives it to an opportunist in Paul Hudson, who invariably kicks a goal from this situation.
Hudson having a great season. He's kicked a goal in every match. His 32nd of the season.
Yeah, Dennis, that's certainly what teamwork's all about. Chris Grant was probably in a low percentage spot to have a shot on goal, and as Terry spoke about, there wasn't an option sort of forward of the ball, but he just waited and held the ball up. He was looking inside of the centre corridor, waiting for one of his teammates to get free. It was Paul Hudson on this occasion who slipped his opponent in. Parker ran into the spot, ran into the vision of Chris Grant, released the ball in a fashion that gave him a chance to kick a goal.
So the Bulldogs 8 straight last week, first quarter this ground against Adelaide. Have 5 straight on the board here already. Ramiro, Chisholm drops a mark. Has another go at it. West feints one handball, gets the second one towards Garlick, under pressure, loses it. Smith, ground back to Croft on the left foot. Attacks the goal square. Darcy pushes, lets it go eventually. It bounces free. Parker right there with him, hassling, pushing, shoving, boundary throw in.
Terry, one thing they've certainly made an art of in their game is the backward handball, certainly releasing their teammate a little bit of time and space to use the ball effectively. Invariably, it can be a low percentage play, but when you use the ball and give your mate time and space to use it, it certainly works in your favour.
Darcy couldn't do it by himself, but it rebounds to Smith. He's had a shot for number 3. The crowd of Peel, one behind. So the Dockers supporters and the Dockers players doing their work with the goal umpire prior to his decision, and they've won.
Oof. Tough job being a goal umpire this season. The crowd probably inclined to side with Smith, sight unseen. McGovern wants to kick it in. In fact, that was a live kick in. Everyone was just wandering around there. It came back to McGovern from Chisholm.
I couldn't believe Chisholm. I thought it was dead. The way he played it, I thought it was dead.
Kicks it up towards the wing. That's the kick from Jones. Wills. It's part of the Prince's strategy, I think. In the opposite direction, this is Grant across his body. Clever. Hudson stopped it nicely. Croft going past. He ignores that. Comes back towards the middle. Spears the pass in. And Smith, who's been ever dangerous, never present, has this ball about 75 metres from goal to West. Still inside the centre square, bearing in mind, of course, Optus Oval, a short ground. He goes out wide, getting metres in the clear as Montgomery. Missed the mark, so an opportunity for Callaghan. He soccers off the ground. It goes out towards the boundary. Curley leads in the race. Callaghan, great use of the body. Comes up, brandishing the footy. Goes across towards Kickett. Kickett slips it back towards Callaghan. Falling to the ground, he gets it to Gale. Gale runs forward of the wing. Probing kick inside the 50. Bandy. has marked about 45 metres out.
That's a very good build-up, and Bandy with a heap of space in front of him. If he can keep on the lead on Southern, he's really going to be a dangerous player.
Callaghan did so well, winning a 50-50 ball, and Bandy has gone very close. It's a goal. He's got 2.
Yeah, terrific build-up once again by the Fremantle Dockers. On this occasion, they got the ball out wide. First of all, it was Dale Kickett who gave the backward handball. It found Gale, who's a very promising player, and that is a terrific kick to a lead. Didn't have to change stride, did Daniel Bandy. Went back, had a look at the goal, summed up the situation, and kicked a critical goal for the Fremantle Dockers.
Spider Burton on the bench, Clive Waterhouse, Luke Toyer just waiting his turn. Very excited about the prospects too. Wind. Young Michael doing the ruck work against him. Just his second game. Wind very experienced, and the ball's just going to be held in there for a while. Someone's surely got to get something out of this. The umpire intervenes, gives a free kick to Scott West. So play just held up in the centre. West just gives it to Cameron. Little uncertainty, but again, kick, and then just down on his bum.
What about the mark? Cadbury mark of the year. Was that legal?
And he goes on to Darcy, does Grant, and Darcy whacks it in there. 6 to the Dogs. And there's a bit going on back in the centre of the ground. Leon Cameron was collected after his kick. Fair grab by Grandy, was it, Dennis? I didn't see it. I was looking back.
Worth another look, no doubt about that. You tell me. Oof. Tailor-made, but even so.
But it doesn't stand.
Well,
it was a free kick.
Yeah, but advantage was paid. So I figure that it's legal, don't you?
Very good.
We'll pay it. We've got that sort of power. Wine charges through. Daniel Parker in the opposite direction. Sinclair fell over. Croft, good evasion. Great finish to Dimartina alongside the centre circle. High kick, they'll contest about 40 metres out. Dropped down there by Darcy. Coming through is Smith. Shrugs one tackle, gets the kick off around the corner. Shane Parker's in the road though. Hand passes wide. Gale, who's been terrific. His team down by 11 points. He kicks it up towards the wing. Callaghan leads back in the race. Lacking support. Curley got him down. Callaghan reefs it in. That could be holding the ball, and it is. That's a tough call, but that's the way they're calling it. Kick comes across to Darcy. Curley wasted no time, and Darcy, the defensive side of the wing. Poor kick. Dockers have got the numbers now. Hunter hurriedly onto the boot. It will bounce inside the 50. Southern tries to backhand it across to Wirra. Wirra paddling towards the line, and across it goes. Brad Wirra, game number 50. 49 with the Bulldogs and 1 with the Dockers. Well, what about the state of play at the moment, Matthew?
Yeah, the Dockers are, when they get out and free and run, they certainly are using the ball well. She said at the moment our defence is doing, I think, is doing a great job. And also, when we do get into the forward 50, we're certainly not having a lot of opportunities. But when we do get in there, we're kicking goals, which is a good sign.
That's the little fella behind it. Very serious business, this.
So Matty Dent sitting it out and watching his side. He watches now as Bandy takes it from the ruck on the left foot and hit the woodwork. Oh, geez, there's some agility for a big man there.
Yeah, he's certainly well balanced, isn't he? He certainly runs straight at the goals when he gets the opportunity. He's quick of leg speed. He has great awareness in a tight situation as Daniel Bandy. He's certainly a promising player.
Jared Neesham looking on. Game number 78 for him.
Also, it's interesting to see the Fremantle Dockers are playing a man-on-man approach on the Western Bulldogs kick-ins.
So here's the kick in from Cameron. The spoils fall to West, but he just gives it up. Gives it up to Dodd. Turns it back to centre half forward. The Dockers with a chance. Clement, very good mark.
Ooh.
Well, I don't know what Scotty West was doing there. Had been one of Scott's weaknesses in his game in that he floats the handball. He doesn't really rocket it into the teammate. And this one didn't find its mark. Dodd has turned it back. So on the quarter-time siren, Dockers trailing by 10 points at this stage.
What's the betting? Thumbs up from me. I think you'll get it.
A couple of fives over the last couple of weeks, so he knows where it is. He's stretched it. He's stretched it long enough and accurately enough. The Dockers get the goal.
That was some kick. Over the goal line by about 15 metres into the crowd. So 4 points the margin. Well, looking at the flags, that breeze has backed around a little bit. Certainly was blowing directly down the ground when we started proceedings. He was on a different page there, the look away hand pass, and things had changed since he last read the book. It went across to Dodd. The idea was right. He knew initially where the runner was. That was Smith, but as I say, Dodd slipped in, intercepted, and suddenly right on the siren. Fremantle Dockers get a late goal and they trail by 4 points. So quarter time, interesting affair, high scoring affair this one. The Bulldogs capable of getting goals early in a game, 6-1 to 5-3. Start of the second term, 6-1, 5-3. High quality game so far. Free running. Good spectacle. Burton at the second attempt and the third. Only as far as Brown, who kicks it out towards the wing. Awkward bounce for Parker. Favoured Hudson, but Parker's got some toe. Look at him come again. Fumbles, picks it up. Well played. Shane Parker, outer side wing, kicking it down towards right half forward. Curley has got a leap. In from the side, though, Sinclair judged it perfectly. No room to manoeuvre. Took the mark on his chest. He's away. Kicks inside the 50. Bandy reaching up for that one from behind Southern. Colin, or rather Crediuk, knocks the ball across the boundary line, and a boundary throw in the pocket. Southern will be stretching against Bandy. Interesting, when Burton came off the ground, Bandy didn't go on the ball. Michael was introduced. So they like that matchup, the Dockers. Kick it, keeping it alive. Wills grabs it. Can he manufacture a goal? What's he done? It's gone right across the face. Out of bounds on the full in the opposite pocket. Now, if you asked him to do that, he couldn't do it again. But that's not the point.
Andrew Wills, he can certainly kick and manufacture a goal from nowhere. They're the ones he should kick. But he made a meal of it, Terry.
So Johnson's kick on out. Burton takes the mark with the free kick. Is going to wind. Big Spider not all that happy about that. Very important duel between these two big men. When I say big, I mean big. Wirra caught up, concede some ground back to Cameron. As Mick McGuan said earlier, they're quite prepared to go backwards to find a player free. Cameron on the left just tosses up towards half forward. Garlick and Dodd. Dodd, eyes only for the ball. Chisholm likewise working through, runs into O'Reilly. O'Reilly a little bit in the way just there, and the Bulldogs pounce upon it to win a ball up.
Just quickly,
And
Terry.
Yes, Russ.
Just noticing the Bullies that just don't have the options that they've had in the previous weeks. Like, we just noticed Leon Cameron standing there looking for players up forward, and I think Matthew Denton mentioned earlier that they might have been struggling just at certain areas of the game where they're not moving the ball as fluently as they were in the past. So
Yeah,
we'll just watch for that.
and they haven't looked as clean either, Russ, just yet, have they? So here's their opportunity. Martin's just come onto the ground for Hudson, so Terry Wallace making some changes. Grant, excellent kick towards centre half forward. Smith was always going to fly over the top and take it. 6 kicks, 5 handballs already, 4 marks, a couple of goals. And Rowan Smith, who hasn't perhaps been in as good a form as he was last year when he was All-Australian, making his mark on the game early here. 2 goals. 3 goals is as good as he's kicked in any game of league football. Gone towards the square. It's snuck back around, but not enough, and it's shaved the woodwork. So the one behind to Smith. The Bulldogs opening up to what we were calling into the breeze earlier on, but the way the Dockers went in the first quarter, perhaps that influence isn't as significant as we thought.
It has moved, Terry. It has. Dennis mentioned just at quarter time, but the wind is sort of blowing away from the commentary position, so to the outer wing, across the ground.
McGovern into Mines. Now goes for distance around the outer side. O'Reilly in front of Croft. Croft gave a good contest, goes after the ball close to the line, feeds it back to Garlick. Dragged down by O'Reilly, and in turn Daniel Parker, and will have a bounce on the outer side. Bulldogs lead it by 5 points. Important time in this game now. Wind and Burton marauding out there, as you can see, either side of the umpire, body to body. They lock up now. Wind knocks it towards the boundary line. Garlick kept it in. Missed West, though, and as a result, a chance for the Dockers. Callaghan to Burton, who steams away. Burton forward of the wing, kicks inside the 50, pitches in front of Hunter. Now an opportunity for Johnson. Johnson breaks away from half-back for the Bulldogs into space. Taken by Martin through the wing. Kicks it inside the 50. Smith comes on the lead, missed the mark. Jones will get back and tidy up. Still Jones. Good shepherd from Daniel Parker. Jones drives it towards the outer side. Callaghan is out there with Wirra. Callaghan. Clever mark. In fact, it's Dimartina who got across eventually to give a contest. But Callaghan tracked it well in the air. Goes short. McGovern. Burton missed it. Goes after it again. Confronted by Garlick. On his knees, West. Taken by Romero. Got the hand pass away. Johnson. Johnson kicks it up towards the 50 once more. Grant's in front. Jones is closing. Close to the line. Grant feeds it back. Taken by Dimartina. He tried to get around Callaghan and was dragged down and taken eventually across the line by Bond. Good work by Callaghan.
Yeah, certainly, Dennis. That's one facet of the game has really improved as we watch the spectacle of AFL footy get better in all dimensions. But the tackling pressure from all sides in the competition is at its highest.
So the ball at half forward for the Bulldogs. Wind on out to Darcy. Breaks away on the left. Wobbles the kick in towards the top of the square. Smith curls back around looking for three. He's got him. So Rowan Smith makes the most of an opportunity from Darcy, curls it back around very nicely.
When you're hot, Terry. There's no doubt about that. But what a disciplined kick by Luke Darcy. He could have had a ping at goals, but he did the percentage thing, just got it to the front of the square. It wasn't a good execution of a perfect kick. But what about this? Had the presence of mind, had a quick look, presence of mind, had a quick look across his body, and isn't Rowan Smith happy? Kicking his third for the game, his 13th possession.
Rowan Smith finding some touch this afternoon. He's kicked 3. The Western Bulldogs lead 7-2 to 5-3. Smith has been struggling a bit this season. Garlick, who's been handy. Romero to West. So the runners now getting involved in midfield for the Bulldogs. West down towards half forward. Hangs in the air a long time. Jones body to body with Grant. Grant's got the footy locked underneath. In goes Smith. And holding the ball is the call. A couple of tough ones today. Now, whether he pulled that back in, I'm not sure, but Jones has got the ball in any case. Comes out wide. O'Reilly pushing up the ground a bit this afternoon. Takes the mark. Cruising past is Gale. Gale's on the wing, coming down towards half forward, and Wills drops the mark. Now he's got to recover. Not in time. Wirra. The ball was gone when Wills went back looking for it. This is Martin towards the middle, wide of Croft. Daniel Parker leads in the race, has got it. Gets the hand pass away quickly. Johnson over the ball, feeds it back over the head of Croft, into the path of Romero, though. Goes back to Croft. Croft about 40 metres out, kicks towards full forward. It bounces wide of the mark, though, and through for a minor score.
Yeah, bad mistake there by Andrew Wills. Should have taken an easy chest mark, but fumbled the ball. And as soon as you fumble in this pressure cooker of what AFL footy is all about, all of a sudden a turnover is created. And more often than not, the opposition puts scoreboard pressure on you. You can't afford to make simple mistakes like that.
McGovern just short to Gale. Just holding up in the back pocket. Pretty much committed to the near side now. So kicks in towards Jones. Very good mark, knowing Croft was coming. Always gets the tough assignment in the defence for the Dockers side as Jones. This afternoon he has Chris Grant. Back to McGovern. Player on the outer side. Tosses on out wide to him. It's Callaghan. One-on-one now towards Bond. Ball needs to stay inside for him. It does. Squeezes it along the line. Not really effective. Sinclair makes something out of it by charging it down. Bond now working with Parker, but the umpire in there. He's picked out a free kick, umpire Coates, and Jess Sinclair will get it against Stephen Collinyook. And he's a little slow to get up, is Jess.
Just one faulty kick coming out, wasn't it? There goes Jess Smith very solidly off the ball. But Callaghan's kick needed to be precise. Bond had made the move to the outer side. Fell short, and from there on in, they were trying to redeem the situation.
So Sinclair taking the free kick now. Disposal number 7 for he. Kicks along towards half forward. Wills from behind. Can't take the mark. It's at ground level. Dodd. Garlick does enough to win the boundary throw in.
Yeah, Terry, and there's some interesting matchups in midfield. Callahan's going with West, trying to nullify his influence on the game. West at this stage has had 5 and 6 and 3 marks. Also, Garlick's going with Dodd, and Norris is going with Ramiro for the Western Bulldogs.
So Norwich, who was going with Ramiro, gave it to Ramiro, who gave it back to Norris, who's put it back into the contest. And I'm not sure whether anyone will get it out of here. Umpire Andrew Coates will take that opportunity to bounce it.
Bit of a rivalry between these two clubs. I think it's fair to say they don't like each other. Although not a lot of teams like the Western Bulldogs, you've got to say that. Much maligned, I think, is the way we describe them, Terry.
But the Dockers continually do well against them, so they give themselves a real chance against the Dogs.
Oh, yes. Wind out wide. Garlick, Ramiro, hard against the line, across the body. They battle for it close to the line. McGovern knocks it away from West. Another throw in. 7-3 to 5-3. 12 3/4 minutes till half time. Steve Collinhook, who played so well last week, looking on at the moment. Wine missing this one. Coming through. Ramiro getting a feel for it now. Hudson couldn't control the ball. This is Norris. Norris gets the hand pass away.
Oh,
not
great work.
looking, and going straight through was Bond. That was inspirational. Kicks inside the 50. Hunter couldn't hang on. Knocked away there by Krediuk. Coming through strongly is Curley. Gathers the ball and chips towards the outer side, and that's a good grab, Dimatina. And should be 50 because Kickett picked up the ball and then dropped it again. And the umpire spotted him. No doubt about these umpires.
Yeah, certainly an undisciplined active play by Dale Kickett. And all of a sudden, Paul Dimatina now has got a chance to get the ball into the danger zone for the Fremantle Dockers, about 30-40 metres out from goal.
Does kick in towards centre half forward. The ball's loose. West spinning this way, that way. Can't get on out. Callahan, quick kick on out, looking for the line, but it's gone too far. It's on the full, and Hudson, like a good half-forward flanker, does, chases it, turns around and kicks a goal. Great shot, Paul Hudson.
Terry, doesn't he sum up a situation exceptionally quickly? He just knew that the ball was had too much carry on it. He chased the ball before more or less the boundary umpire gave the decision, but all of a sudden he picked the ball up, wheeled inside, gave himself a little bit of extra space between the goals, and as we know, Paul Hudson is an exceptional kick for goal. It's his 33rd for the season.
No better finisher in the AFL than Paul Hudson. That was deadly. Garlick out of the middle. Inside the 50 goes the kick. O'Reilly goes back, dropped the mark. Now he's got a problem. Belatedly knocked it clear directly to Martin, who'll run into an open goal and kick another one.
Yeah, they're certainly a hard-running team of the Western Bulldogs. Martin, who's just come off the interchange bench about 5 minutes ago, he's had an immediate impact on this game. He's had 3 kicks this quarter, 1 resulting in this goal. It is amazing the amount of times when the ball does get forced forward. It's the Western Bulldogs who naturally run onto it. Ramiro, Smith, Johnson, Martin and the like. More often than not, they're the ones who pick up the ground level loose ball. When you're only 25 metres out from goal, as Martin was, you very rarely miss those ones.
So the Bulldogs with the 3 goals of the quarter. Michael Martin, professional off-the-bench player, bursting through, kicking a goal, and here's some more strength being shown by the Dogs. Wine back to Garlick, gets the quick kick out of the centre bounce area. Croft from behind, nearly takes it, stays upright in the contest, wheels it back around. Turning around, going long, Powell, Stephen Powell, another interchange player, and he misses to the left.
Terry, you were just talking about professional interchange players. I think Mickey Martin has played about 14 off the bench, and it's amazing how this 4-man interchange has allowed an additional type of player to be part of a side. You've now got their professional interchange players, like the Vinny Gattoggio of the 70s used to come on and kick 2 or 3.
So Daniel Parker, a late inclusion into the Dockers side. Greg Harding not taking his place in the lineup. His kick-in finds Andy McGovern on the outer side.
Doing very well now in the centre square, the Western Bulldogs. I reckon they've won the last 5 in there, and that's the problem. And McGovern hasn't played on. He ran directly at the man on the mark, chips it across to Norris. No conviction in that. That could well be holding the ball. Bit lucky there. Spills back to McGovern. Good work. Norris fumbles inside the centre square. Still Norris lost it. Garlick in the opposite direction, kicks for space, nobody back there. Chisholm leads in the race. 3 Dockers opposed to Martin. Chisholm's got the ball, Martin's got him. Well, they didn't work it out too well there, the Dockers.
And I reckon they're the odds that young Martin loves. 3-1 against. I'll take them.
But if you were coaching the Western Bulldogs, Terry, you'd certainly love that situation, the way Martin defensively put pressure on the Fremantle team. You'd think with the weight of numbers, it was 3-1. They would have carried the ball out, set it up on the way through. But that wasn't the intention of young Martin. He certainly chased with the intention to tackle and pressurise the Dockers team.
Well, he's used to having 3 around him, of course, on the bench as Parker kicks in up towards the defensive 50. Ramiro's got it. About 35 metres out from goal. High kick down towards the pocket. Back goes Parker and across the line. So a boundary throw in. This game has certainly turned suddenly. The Western Bulldogs looking powerful, irresistible in midfield and really applying some pressure. Brad Dodd sits down and he's not happy.
Throwing in. Michael jumps high, gives a free kick, receives a free kick.
Terry, I think it's fair to say this is a critical period in the game for the Fremantle team, because it is the Bulldogs have kicked 4 unanswered goals, and all of a sudden they've got the ascendancy on the scoreboard.
So we're 16 minutes into the second quarter. The 3 goals to the Dogs belong to Smith, Hudson and Martin. Dockers go forward. Norris towards Sinclair. Can't take the mark. Weira underneath it there with Wills.
Actually, Terry, I feel pathetic saying that he's not happy. You know, when a bloke comes off or he misses a goal, we always come up with that, don't we? He's not happy. Why don't we say he said son of a gun? I mean, we know what he said. Everybody in the world knows what he said, but we can't say it as broadcasters.
Michael working to keep it alive. Holland just on the ground also. So the Dockers just finding it a little bit difficult here at the moment. The ball on the outer side. The wind pushing the ball across to that side, so they need to work doubly against the Bulldogs' defence and against the breeze. Ramiro, Cameron is working a little bit for the Dockers there. Concedes about 15 metres, but ends up positively with Darcy. A little bit of trouble, but gets the left foot forward to the contest there. Jones very good against Grant.
He's a very good player one-on-one, isn't he, Jones? He very rarely gets beaten in a one-on-one contest, especially in the air.
Yep. He's kicked towards the wing. Darcy can't take the mark. Wills keeps it alive with a handball. Only as far as Hurley, though. Can't get it on out. Wills comes back. West to Weira. Steps on out. Kicks in towards half forward. Here's the lead from Croft. Falls short. That's a tackle. Good tackle. Holding the ball up. Bond. Back to Chisholm. To the outer side. Wills.
No.
He's Yorkered. Then he's taken high. It's gone to the line. McGovern keeps it alive. Brodie Holland. His kick out of bounds. It's all too much on that outer side.
Terry, you're right about that feeling, especially with the way the Bullies are going. The Fremantle Dockers just can't get the ball past their own centre line at the moment. It's they've really got to get a score on the board, otherwise the Bullies will run away with this in this turn.
Ramiro taken high. He'll get the free kick down towards left half forward. The Dogs doing all the attacking. They lead by 26 points then. And they work it forward once more, down towards the pocket. Bounces across the line. It was Johnson who booted it in. There's Daniel Parker. There's the time remaining till half-time. Michael learning on the job here against Wind. Comes back to Wind in the congestion, tries to dig it out. Hudson was in there, socket off the deck by Michael, only as far as West. He's 55 metres from goal, Scotty West, down towards full forward. Croft trying to work off his marker, comes back, finds the ball. Jones has got him, shovelled out only as far as McGovern. Daniel Parker's in the square, lays it off, slipping over is Gale, who started so well. Kicks it out wide, O'Reilly in best position. A Bulldog either side of him, but he's taken this mark. Now, this is where they've been breaking down. O'Reilly comes up towards the wing and Kickett needs to go. Fisted away, well played by Johnson. Gale, though, camped in front, got it to Norris. Norris boots it towards the wing. Waterhouse couldn't control it. Brilliantly done by Curley. Kept it going the Bulldogs' way. Now Ramiro back to Johnson. Norris has got him. Ball jarred loose. Down goes Gale. Well played by Darcy. It comes to Waterhouse, though. Waterhouse gets it away to Kickett. Advantage is paid. There was a whistle there. Holland was taken high, sliding in his Waterhouse. Waterhouse playing minus a boot, so he elects to hand pass. Good policy. Got it to kick it. Up towards half forward. Good pass by Wills. Got it across to Holland. Holland kicks inside the 50. They come from all directions. Knocked away down there by Crediuk. Roving the pack is Cameron. Goes back against the flow. Looks across the ground. Saw only Michael. Where will he go now? Little chip. Southern. Right on the kickoff line. Gives it to West. Sounds like a compass. West running across half back. Kicks towards the outer side. Hudson leads in the race close to the line. Chance for the Dogs.
From half back. Hold up. That's holding the ball surely. Umpire Craig Durham giving that a decision to Chisholm. So the Dockers really need to make a direct push into here. Hunter offering the lead. Chisholm ignores it. He's chipped up high. Wind will eat it. He has that stuff for breakfast. You can't deliver that into the forward line against Scott Wind. With Sutton, Cameron backwards again to Wind. A little slow, big fella. Bandy has him, dropping the ball. So a comedy of errors really. Neither side being committed to clearing the area.
Terry, I always question the validity of handballing the ball to a tall ruckman. They become very slow of leg speed, especially when their next option is to kick the ball. More often than not, they do chase from behind. And as we've seen, Bandy laid a perfect tackle.
So Bandy, one of those ruckman kicks and kicks as a ruckman. Fell terribly short. So Mick's applying the old over 6'4" principle, the football. Danny Southern.
He was spoiled. He had monkey.
Oh, thanks for that.
To Crediuk. Just holding up in the back pocket. Southern honours it. They go back to Cameron again. This ain't good football by any side. He sets up camp, boils a billy, has a cup of tea, spreads a scone and then decides to kick the ball towards the wing. Finds Grant. One step. Bulldogs out free. It's Darcy. He'll want to keep it going. Does. Honours the runner West. Strong, hard running. That's a good kick. To the right position at centre half forward. Hudson's got the mark. Play on, says the umpire. That's holding the ball.
Oh, dear.
If it's not a mark, that's holding the ball. Bondi, you've got every right to argue if you want to, mate. You haven't, Paul.
Perfect call. But did he mark the ball?
Well, that's the key, isn't it?
So the umpire calls what he says. There's no way the umpire can see whether that's a mark or not, so he can't call. There's an official tackle being applied. Andy Coates,
one or the other.
150 games, called on all his experience there, and I think he fell just slightly short of the mark. Michael, out the back. O'Reilly, the left foot. Here's Wind and space and a bouncing ball. Does it pretty well. Oh. Jess runs right into it.
Oh.
Grant wears one as well. It's an advantage downfield. Darcy to take it. 70 metres out from goal. Comes inboard. Here's Hudson again with Bond. Bond spoils well. Hudson slips over. Keeps the ball alive. The handball, not a good one. Brody Holland slips with the ball. Parker, very good out. Forward handball. The Dockers need to clear the area. They can't. Bond now should set something up for them, surely.
And Grant taking a long time to get up. He was flattened on the outer side. Clement, play allowed to go on. So we'll say good use of the body. Kicks inside the 50. Hunter had it knocked away by Crediuk. On all fours down there is Kickett. Sliding in his pal. Got the hand pass away. Garlick. Garlick a long time. Hand passes back towards the boundary. Johnson falling to the ground goes wider. Taken out there by Martin. Well, after a dull period, it's livened up. Martin from half back up towards the wing. Grant seems to be okay. Croft, though, over the top, took the mark. West again, hitting the pack hard. Kicks inside the 50. Smith was up, knocked away by Parker. Parker found it best on the ground, got it to Norrish. Norrish sweeps it away. This is McGovern. McGovern from half back. Runs through midfield, kicks it down towards half forward. O'Reilly, one bounce, a second. Inside the 50, needs a finish. Oh, beautiful, Steve. Beautiful. Great goal.
Yeah, certainly a terrific goal. He just went forward with a bit of purpose, did Steve O'Reilly. But I think in that build-up there, I think Scotty Chisholm's number was taken for that tackle out wide on Chris Grant. Looked pretty fair from up here, but it was certainly a bump that did stun Chris Grant. But what a terrific goal by the running Steve O'Reilly. He really sort of assessed his options, Had the presence of mind to balance, which is so important when you go into your non-dominant side, but he kicked accurately for goal.
So Stephen O'Reilly trots back to centre half back after picking up a goal, and a very good goal from the backman's perspective. When you're running on 50, you're on the wrong side, and it's getting fierce in close. Ramiro wears one there from the aggressive Wills. And the umpire from the far end of the ground has come in and awarded a free kick to Jose Ramiro. So he deemed it high against Wills. Ramiro wastes no time. He's kicking to the forward line. Bulldog forward line not ready. Parker is, though. Uses Norwich down the centre of the ground. And that's the direction they need to stay. The Dockers stay straight at it. Here's Holland running on. Now puts the foot on the accelerator to Waterhouse. He needs to finish, and finish well on the right foot. The Dockers have got two in a row. They're pegging it back. Nice, straight, direct football from the Dockers from one end of the ground to the other, and Waterhouse, a quiet day to date, finishes it off.
Yeah, and as we've seen, the importance of a defender coming to meet the loose ball. Backing his judgment, took it upon himself to come and meet the footy. Got the ball forward. Good awareness here by Brodie Holland. Could have had a shot for goal, but he's seen Clive Waterhouse pushing forward in a situation where it just opened up the goals that little bit more. And terrific play, though, the Dockers. Went direct at goal.
Ill-tempered game, bit of sniping going on. 9-5, 7-3. Very interesting. Wine has to wait. Bandy comes over the top. Sinclair couldn't control it. Wine picks it up, gets the hand pass off, intended for Ramiro, trapped there by Norris, taken by Sinclair. He in turn was taken high. Advantage won't be paid. It'll come back to Sinclair, who immediately wants to go. Given the umpire's blessing, kicks inside the 50. Freddie Hook played it well.
Dennis, just a quick one. A bit of spite happening out here. I think the Bullies have taken their mind, focus off the ball. Paul Hudson just down someone behind play, and a few of the boys are getting a bit aggro. Maybe it's time for an even up on Chris Grant incident earlier. I'm not too sure.
You're not advocating that, are you, Russell?
Well, mate, Matthew Dead's going crazy next to me.
You've been sitting too long next to him.
He's going out of control.
What do you think, Matthew, about the state of play? We asked you before, but the Dockers have come back well.
Yeah, they're holding us up at the moment. Every time we seem to go into our forward line, they've got the answers and they're rebounding, and they're just bottling play up around the ground as well, so we can't get our flowing motion going.
Good spectacle. It's knocked across the line there by Chisholm. And what do you think he's on report, Mick?
Yeah, I certainly do think his number was taken with that Chris Grant incident. To me, it didn't look much in it. Looked fairly fair.
Thrown in. Wine could have been held there. Knocked it down. Croft sold West into trouble. McGovern applies a tackle. Ball spills wide. Collinhook slips it away. This is Curley, about 55 out for space. Awkward one here for Hudson. Hudson slips away. Well, overcommitted was Bond, and I think the Dockers will feel the needle here. No, he's missed. Well, uncharacteristic there. Paul Hudson going into an open goal. And like so many goal scorers, almost too much time to think there.
And the Dockers have certainly restructured their forward 50. Kingsley Hunter's gone to the true full forward position. Daniel Bandy has now gone into the ruck, running everywhere where Scotty Wine positions himself.
So the Wills kick goes towards that pair. Bandy trying to get it on, doesn't. Rebound to Grant, uses the left foot very, very well.
How to get through there?
I can't answer you, Mick. I mean, Smith waited, and the attack from there from Parker was good, but he missed the nut.
And I think that might be a disciplinary measure, because Jose Ramiro was in the centre corridor putting his hands up in the air. And when you take it upon yourself to kick a shot at goal, you must kick them.
So Rowan Smith for 4. That's a career best. Well done, Rowan, before half-time.
Yeah, he's certainly been an important player. He's had 14 possessions, but more importantly, he's kicked 4 goals. And as the woof roar goes up all over the crowd, over the ground, the Bulldogs certainly needed that goal to steady the ship. Their focus must now be solely on football. They're winning enough of the ball around the midfield. They've got good players around the fall of the ball. West in particular starting to have an impact in the centre part of the ground with 17 possessions.
Well, the AFL has outlawed the woof, but they're woofing. There's the bounce in the middle. One down by Wine. Over the ball was a couple of Dockers, or were a couple of Dockers eventually. It comes out to Jones, who kicks it down towards half forward. Callahan, nicely done. Lost it, found it again. Kicks inside the 50. Krediuk reaches over the top of Hunter. Hunter tries to clear a path there for Kickett. Found the ball lying next to him. Picks it up, kicks. I think he's put it out of bounds on the full. He has.
Dennis, I think the AFL have only outlawed the recorded woof woof, but not the live woof woof.
So you can do it sort of spontaneously.
Yeah, only if it's live, not
Spontaneous.
recorded.
I want to hear you get into that before the afternoon's over. Now,
I'll copy up a fur ball at the moment.
we talked about this last week, actually. If you just moved into the neighbourhood and you didn't follow footy, you would think it was one of those strange sexts had moved in. Had moved in down the road. You know what I mean.
Yeah,
Cameron gets a hand pass away to Wirra. Long weekend. Wirra comes away from the 50, kicks it up towards midfield. Dropped there by Martin. Was he pushed in the back? No, the Prince comes away. Short one, gets it to Kickett. Kickett runs to the 50, settles, goes for goal. The square is vacant. Getting back is Cameron. Just in the nick of time. And right on the siren, the force behind. Well, on balance, the quarter did belong to the Western Bulldogs, but the Fremantle Dockers had their moments. 10-6 to 7-4. And it has been a very entertaining game. So often the way, Mick, when teams are allowed to run and we don't see the negating tactics that sometimes we do, or that teams don't seem intent on flooding their defence.
Yeah, that's for sure, Dennis, but it's the Western Bulldogs. They certainly jumped in that second quarter. 3 unanswered goals, 4 for that particular stage of the game, but the Dockers repelled in a fashion they thought they could have got back into the contest. A goal to O'Reilly and also to Waterhouse, but it was Rowan Smith who once again bobbed up. He's 4th for the game, steadied the ship. They're going into the half-time break in control of this game.
Scotty West, big second term, 18 possessions to half-time. Scott Wine having a word to the umpire, his prerogative as the captain. Scotty West averaging 25 possessions a game, coming off 28 last week. He's on pace to better that this afternoon. And in that term had 9 possessions to go with his 9 in the first quarter. And Scotty just lingering and obviously making a query of umpire Andrew Coates. Half-time at Optus Oval, and the league leaders in front, but they've got a contest on their hands. It's the Western Bulldogs 10-6-66. And the Fremantle Dockers 7-4-46. So the start of the second half. Burton and Wind. And away we go. 10-6-7-4. Quite still here at the moment. The breeze going across the ground, what there is of it. Martin gets a hand pass out wide. Trying to crash through out there and going nowhere was Powell. Upended. He battles back after the football. There's Luke Toya. And the ball up. Luke would have fond memories, I'm sure, of Matthew Dent. There's that collision, round 16, first bounce last season. Had some repercussions at the tribunal. Whoops. Missing was Spider. Grabbing the ball is Powell, going nowhere, held to him, and another bounce.
Stephen Powell, number 29. One of the young Bulldogs within the squad. Playing just his 6th game. Winds. Croft does it on the second occasion towards half forward. Getting back is Toya. His first run off the bench. Uses the left foot out wide to Callahan. He can't quite control and goes over the line and out of bounds. Now it's a north wind blowing in Melbourne, so the wind blowing directly across to that outer side. And consequently, much of the game is played over there, as is all the rubbish on the ground on that side of the ground. Not being rubbish is Wind and Burton. Burton drops it down to Norrish. Held up by Ramiro towards the Dogs' way. Toya, second go at the ball. West couldn't win it. Had a heap of the football in the first half, Scott West. 18 disposals, 9 in each of the 2 quarters. And Michael Martin. Ball bounced. Just out of the centre square, forward of the Bulldogs. Slapped over the back. Gale getting back defensively for the Dockers. Concedes a little bit of ground to Parker. To Toya. Now around onto the right foot. This kicks a good one into Jones. He wants to go. He decided to go. Then he changed his mind when he felt Grant ever so close. Now asked to play on. Does so with a, well, a balk perhaps.
Interesting shimmy, wasn't it? Well short of the man on the mark.
And gives it to Shane Parker. His kick to half forward on the lead. Clement couldn't handle the ball. Southern was right there with him. Ramiro asks for a free kick, not given by the umpire. Garlick handballs back, kick it. Goes to do that off the ground, can't. Smith can't control it. And the players have brought it successfully from the outer side of the ground, directly across the ground to the near side.
Terry, I don't know whether you saw it, but Jose Romero copped one high, then copped a second one for his trouble. So he's just in the hands of the trainers, but he's a pretty tough sort of character. He's okay now. Maybe he'll give one back.
The old left eye of Jose getting a bit of a hammering early. Toya, another kick towards half forward. Darcy across the back line all by himself. Squeezed by Kickett coming at him, so he just kicks the ball along the ground, buying some 20 metres free side. Big Luke Darcy, 21 Ps last week, 11 marks, so getting back into some form. Wyndon, Burton. Wyndon, interesting handball. Ramiro, another one to West, then to the run of Johnson. The Dogs are away to half forward. Kicks it perfectly towards Montgomery, couldn't take it. Martin comes in to assist. Back towards Croft. Here's to go to Grant. Can he make it? No, he can't. Falls short of him. Gale's there to clean up for the Dockers. Misses Jones on the handball back. Grant stays with him. Grant tackles. Grant wins possession for the Bulldogs. They've dragged it back around. Powell does the shepherding. Chris Grant, you can take that goal, son.
Yeah, and a terrific call, Terry. That was certainly inspirational stuff from Chris Grant. We know usually he gets on the end of the lead and takes the easiest of chest marks and kicks a goal, but in that occasion he did all the defensive attributes required by a key position player. First of all, he had the intention to run and chase and lay a terrific tackle on Jones. The ball fell free, and Collingwood, how many times do we see him kicking a goal across his body? Terrific team-orientated goal by the Western Bulldogs. And as Terry said, Chris Grant, that's yours.
Just the start the Dockers didn't need. 11-6-7-4. Great work by Grant. Great finish by Collingwood. Kicked 5 last week. Garlick again. He's been handy in the centre square. Kicks it down towards half forward. Collingwood with some confidence now, close to the boundary line. Bond is right there, and out she goes. So a boundary throw in. Early going third term. 72 plays 46. The league leaders playing the team 13th on the ladder. As we said at the outset, not much between a lot of teams. Garlick, clean possession towards the kickoff line. Well, Grant did the hard work, couldn't complete the mark. It runs free behind, picked up by Gale. Sweeping hand pass into the path of Parker. Well, that was the intention. Grant comes again, knocks it across to Montgomery. Jones dragged him down. Parker stood up in a tackle initially, got it to Gale. Gale kicks it around the outer side, and it bounces out of bounds. Luke Darcy on the phone.
Yeah, Dennis, he just came off the ground, replaced by Paul Hudson. Obviously, there's a few words of advice from Terry Wallace.
Boundary throw in. Will Pitt wind against Burton. Burton works in front, very conscious of Wind. Appeared to grab him from the front position. Garlick got it away, smothered off the boot. Powell goes again after that initial kick. Gets it to Wind, got it across to him. Powell kicks inside the 50. Big leap from Montgomery. Didn't put his hands up. As a result, it could have been a Docker free. Montgomery on his knees, gets it away to Croft. Great sleight of hand. Croft into an open goal.
Yeah, terrific play there by Montgomery on that occasion. He really worked hard with the loose ball, floating around at ground level, bouncing everywhere. Finally got his hands on the ball and seen Croft drifting in. First of all, he went for the mark. Croft drifted into the forward part of the ground, into the goal square. Great awareness, got it through 2 Dockers' legs into the path of Croft. Croft runs into the edge.
That really has to be a free kick, though, doesn't it? Can't just jump into his back.
So a questionable fly in the goal square.
Thought so.
Could have been a free kick.
Well, I think you've got to put the hands up, don't you?
So Montgomery just going up. Soccer fashion, looking to head the ball.
Is that what it was?
That's what it was. But the Dogs get the goal through Croft. Now back in the centre bounce. And the Western Bulldogs again. Ramiro racking up possessions. That's kick number 8. He's had 14 handballs with that. Jones. Yep, they're in a little bit of trouble, the Dockers. They're really under the pump in the back line. They haven't got the options to get the ball out. There's some of their run there. Wills not being called upon at this stage. Well, round 12 last year had 15 Brownlow medal votes. Ended up being 7th in that medal. This year a lot quieter. Colonyuk just keeps the ball alive. Hudson does the body work on Bond, gives it to Garlick, who's been very good in the centre bounce. Misses.
Terry, and it's interesting to see Stephen O'Reilly's gone to centre half forward, and I would just wonder whether it's the opportunity now to use Burton and push him back in that sort of defensive part of the ground in that Western Bulldogs forward 50, and maybe ruck Bandy and play with a 5-man forward line and try to leave Wirra free. Well, actually, O'Reilly's coming off the ground. A player who maybe not as creative and as damaging on that part of the ground.
So the Dockers just looking to develop, run into their game here. Callaghan out towards Sinclair, but handled well by Wirra. Game number 50 for Brad Wirra. One game with the Fremantle Dockers back in '95, and coincidentally was round 12. Here, round 12, 3 years later, he plays his 50th. Wind. Neither he nor Burton get it away, but Wind comes the second time. Works at ground level, the big bloke gives it to Ramiro. Kick doesn't get out. There's a free kick.
Yeah, Scotty wins free kick. Bandy just jumped straight in the back of, I think it was Burton, sorry. Jumped straight in the back.
What's the money on giving it to Cameron? There,
Okay.
Look, that is the most obvious play the Bulldogs have, but week after week it works. Cameron on the right, can't get it away though at half forward. Montgomery wins a free kick. Chips inside to Croft. Been a good forward the last couple of weeks. 2 goals in each of the past 2 games. Kicks the centre forward. Grant pushed in the contest by Jones. It's allowed to go on. Will's cleaning up. Carries the ball. Then the long kick on out to Sinclair. He's got 15 metres on Wirra. Holds the play up. There's nothing forward. Scott West is back hovering, holding up the play. Oh, short kick to Dodd.
Bond was the man, wasn't he?
Yeah, for sure. In the centre corridor, he's on for about 3 minutes, and that's what you got to do. Try to transfer the play and open up the dimensions coming forward.
Towards Waterhouse. Curley, without hesitation, spoils. Callaghan keeps it into Sinclair. His kick to Cameron. Curley, cross. Any number of them. Prediuk takes it instead of Montgomery. Now back to Cameron again. Lurking around on his left foot towards Darcy, who just popped up off the interchange bench. Off he goes, onto the right foot, along towards the wing. Croft can't handle it. Will want to bring it back inboard. Holds up, comes back out. He's on his left. Little bounce getting away just too easily. West, no support here now. Goes a long one forward to Powell. Stephen Powell is being waved on by traffic officer Garlick. Kicks towards Grant. Can't take it over the back. Colonyuk didn't miss it. Smith. Dockers under the heat. Parker shrugs the tackle. Breaks on out. Back inboard to Norris. They're away again.
Norris from centre half back to midfield. This is Dodd alongside the centre circle. Comes out wide. Still by himself is Bond. He runs inside the 50. Under pressure. Chips it down towards Bandy. Fisted away by Prediuk. Well played. Out of bounds. Boundary throw in.
Dennis, what a vastly improved player that Stephen Prediuk is for the Bulldogs. I mean, over the last 18 months, he's developed into a sensational player and one of their probably first 5 picked in defence for the Bullies.
Yeah, well, we don't give away the number 35 Guernsey lightly, Fly.
You can't be serious. Darcy knocked it down in front. Hard against the line. Clement pulls it back across the face. It goes a long way towards the opposite pocket. Curley, unkind bounce, recovers, settles. Here's Johnson. The Williamstown boy grew up barracking for the Dogs to Cameron. Cameron down towards centre half forward, tailor-made for Hudson, but Kickett did well. Coming in from the side, Kickett back in defence now, swings it out wide, clever kick. Sinclair has it, one bounce, steadies himself, thinks about the kick. Now a probing kick, but a nest of Dogs there. Contradiction in terms. The hand pass comes from Montgomery to Curley, and Curley's away, bouncing it towards the outer side. Curley kicks it towards half forward. Daniel Parker comes across, drops the mark. Croft close to the line, proving too good for Daniel Parker. Gets it across to Jose Ramiro, back to Croft. Croft loping, the short one is onto Powell. Powell immediately away, kicks inside the 50. Grant, oh, what a precision kick that was. Grant goes long towards the square by hand. The youngster Brown rolls through a goal.
Yeah, terrific kick there by Powell. Gave the advantage to Chris Grant, and Chris Grant in a laconic fashion just played on immediately gave the ball into the path of Brown, who kicked the dribbling goal. But here's a terrific kick by young Powell. He's been good since he's come on the ground. He uses the ball very effectively. Chris Grant seen Brown running into an open goal, just dribbled the ball forward, let the ball do the talking, and kicked an easy goal for the Bullies.
Nathan Brown, who made his debut in round 1 last year against the Dockers on this ground, picks up his second. Sinclair for the Dockers. Quick kick on the left, a half forward. The high bounce. The Dogs have the numbers there. West, another one of those look-away handballs, but this one falls in favour of the Dogs. Powell, Montgomery on the burst. Forward to Ramiro. It's building up. It's gone towards Grant. He pushes against Jones very well. Reading the flight of the ball, doing the body work, and then coming again the second time to mark. He knows how to catch the ball, this man.
And Terry, haven't the Bulldogs really made an art of running from behind the ball? The wave of numbers coming through the midfield area. On that occasion, there was probably 5 or 6 players that could have been used on the way through. They've certainly made it an art in their play. Delight to watch.
So Chris Grant going for goal number 2. He's missed it.
Poster.
Well, Terry, Stephen O'Reilly's just come on. It looks like he might take on Croft. I think Croft has started to cut them apart this third quarter, Matty Dan.
Yeah, definitely leading. He was leading Parker up to the ball, and I dare say that O'Reilly will take Croft now. And Crofty's certainly one of the players that are lifted in this quarter for us.
So Shane Parker, the little kick to himself. Working now with Gale, just being squeezed. Good attack from Nathan Brown. Enough pressure to have the kick go towards the Dogs. West rebounds. Hudson's going to camp under it. Grant will come over the top. Brown will do the roving. He'll try and give it to Smith. Good tackle, McGovern and Bond. They wrap it up 4 metres out from the Bulldogs' goal.
That was a great tackle, wasn't it? If he took him on the full rotation, he would have steered him towards goal. Had to straighten him up.
So 2 fine defenders, McGovern and Bond, working together. And the young fella, Michael, pushes it over the line for the behind. So 13-9 to 7-4.
Just under 10 minutes till three-quarter time, and I've got to say this now has the potential to turn ugly. Fremantle have really got to bear down here. Scott Chisholm to himself, to the pocket, and a little chip out towards half-back and Bond. Jones is cruising past. He's at right half-back. He kicks it up towards the wing. Darcy coming across, read it best to Grant. Uncharacteristic fumble across the line before Sinclair could control it. So a boundary throw in. Right on the wing. Just a behind. In fact, not even a behind for Fremantle in this term. Their halftime score was 7-4. They're locked on that. Montgomery. This is Wirra to West, has been so busy. A little arrogance in that one. So Wirra back to regroup. Thought about going across the ground. Now drives it from the wing down towards half forward. Shane Parker in best position. Oops. Dropped it. Was taken high. O'Reilly gives it away. Eventually it comes to Jones. More by good luck than anything else, I think. But eventually it comes unstuck. Grant got it to Brown. This is Collinook. 2 men on down towards full forward. One of whom is Smith. He's already got 4. Turns around and grubbers another goal.
Yeah, once again, the Fremantle Dockers just overusing the ball across the defensive part of the ground, 50 metres out from goal from the Western Bulldogs. They more or less tried to invent a handball, trying to get them out of luck, rather than getting the ball straight to your foot and gaining some yardage and getting out of the danger zone. But Collinook there, terrific kick, had the awareness, seen Rowan Smith drifting forward in that part of the ground. And a little bit of arrogance for sure has crept into the Western Bulldogs game.
So Rowan Smith continues to lurk in the goal square forward end for the Western Bulldogs. He's kicked 5. James Cook kicked 6 in round 2. That's been the best return from an individual Bulldog. Collingwood 5 last week. Hudson 5 the week before. Now Smith sits on 5. And Freo's last score was a goal by Clive Waterhouse a long time ago. Norrish keeps it alive, just kicks it along the ground, follows up himself. Sinclair charges it down, back to Bond. Should go to Norwich again, doesn't. Goes over the top to Callaghan. Holds it up. Really, they need it to move and flow into Bandy. He's got it. He has not. I think he frightened that little girl, though. So nothing going quite right for the Dockers at the moment. Bandy can't even get there for the ruck. Michael makes it lately against Darcy. It's dropped down. Michael again, Sinclair trying to get on out to the left. Can't. Ball spills out. Curley in control. The Dogs long through the centre of the ground towards Grant and Jones again. Jones has it go over the back. Grant comes back, wheels around, props around, goes back, comes forward, chip kicks. Beautiful. Brown,
a furrow out
45 metres out. Nathan Brown to the square. Croft, it's gone on over. So a little ring-a-ring-a-rosy by Chris Grant, all by himself. And seeing the Dogs just like the dog with the kitten, just playing with it.
Steve O'Reilly, the worst for wear. I think there's a furrow where Chris Grant was going around out there. It's about 1 metre deep. There's Toyer up towards centre half back. 14-10, 7-4. Luke Toyer across the ground. Bond has it. Norris runs for him. This is very close to the boundary line. Well, that really is as bad as it gets from one of their most experienced players, but it is contagious.
He just didn't get back from the mark and balance himself, Dennis, on that occasion. He tried to find Norris, who ran forward free, got off West on that occasion, but the execution just wasn't there.
Montgomery to Darcy. Darcy centres it. Todd Curley inside the centre square. Southern offers a lead. It goes in that direction. Southern got an awkward bounce. Dodd as a result, favoured by that. Keeping his own defensive 50. Brad Dodd under pressure, kicks it towards the half-back flank area. Gale got Garlick in the air. Now he chips it up towards the wing. Well, Clement left before he controlled the ball. Came back and applied a strong tackle on Cameron. Too high, says the umpire. Advantage is paid. Garlick around the outer side then. Runners to both sides. He chips it back towards the middle. And that's classical football. Chris Grant, very strong hands there. He was taken by the defender in mid-air, but it was like a vice.
Dennis, just a quick one. I'm just wondering, apart from that spilt mark from Daniel Bandy, has it been up into the Dockers 50 this quarter?
It's a good question.
And Mick's gone straight to it, Flo. We've got the computer firing now.
In future, actually, we'll ask the questions.
They obviously need something, don't they? Because it's just been very, very sparse up in this forward line.
You just sit down there and freeze. We'll think up the questions. Here's Grant from 45 metres. He's kicked another one.
Yes, and that's what quality forward work's all about. Chris Grant, as we know, he's leading from the actual goal square, but good forwards lead directly up the ground. And the Western Bulldogs team is certainly aware of where he's running to. This is terrific, as Dan has called. It's classical football. It's quick movement of hand. Gave the space. Garlick looked at his options, seeing Grant running straight up the centre corridor. And that's what kicking to advantage is, giving your teammate first access to the ball. Chris Grant did the rest.
So the Bulldogs with 5 goals, and Fremantle looking dangerously towards the worst third quarter in football this year. They already hold the record. The 1 point was their return in round 1 against Hawthorn. They need to get through this defence of the Dogs, but they stand strong. Prediuk pushes on out wide. Curley, who's been very good, is happy to see the ball over the line and out.
And Fly, just in answer to your question, it's been 15-5. 5 times the Fremantle Dockers team have gone forward into their 50-metre area.
Thanks,
done,
Mickey.
Mick. Well done.
Darcy from behind, couldn't get it away. Norris towards the line again. And again, the ball will be thrown in on the outer side. And Stephen Kolonyuk, the new look Stephen Kolonyuk, socks up. Changed the routine last week, kicked 5 goals, so he decided to stick with it. Hasn't been as helpful to him this week, just the 1 goal, 1 in this third quarter. Albeit a very good one. Gale from 55 metres out. He's gone long. He could get it for the Dockers. He has. The Dockers have got their first of the quarter. So just as Gale did at the opening part of the game, a good long goal. He's repeated the dose late in the third quarter.
Yeah, and Mark Gale certainly tried hard all day. He's had 22 possessions, kicked 2 goals. He is a prodigious kick that's 52, 53 metres, but gone through just under post height. That is a terrific shot on goal into the breeze. But he's certainly one player that could hold his head up. He has really worked hard throughout the course of this contest.
Mark Gale, 22 possessions. He's kicked a couple of goals. I'd say without doubt the Dockers' best player. Powell missed it. Toya swooping on it, kicks inside the 50. Not bad policy when in doubt, just kick it long. Immediately the defence is under pressure. Krediuk digs it out. Wirra in the right back pocket, kicks it around the outer side, but directly to Hunter. Now Hunter's a long kick as well. Now he decides to centre the ball. Toya at the second attempt has marked just inside the 50. It's Kingsley Hunter. 1 goal this afternoon. Luke Toya, who started on the bench, will need a good kick from here.
Dennis, he is one player that can certainly find the ball. As we see his stats up on the screen, 6 kicks, no handballs, 2 marks. Immediately since coming off the bench, he's had an impact on this game.
The margin at 48 points. The Dockers trail. Toya goes long. Hasn't got the carry. Right on the line. Helped across by Darcy.
And that's certainly one part of the game that coaches really love, when the ball's only 2 metres from the goal line, to see your tools get back into that part of the ground and defence in a manner that you get it across the goal line, and then you get an opportunity to set up on the way through by a free kick from the goal square and bring the ball forward for your team.
Leon Cameron, little short one, very short, to Johnson. Johnson in the back pocket then. Comes to the broadcast side. O'Reilly had it knocked away by Croft. Shane Parker tries to knock it to his own advantage. Recovers pretty well under pressure. Too slick for O'Reilly. Worked out of it by Grant. Grant lays it off. Well played. Back to Garlick. Garlick chips for space. Cameron, who moments ago had the ball at full back, applies a tackle there to Gale. Gale went looking for Kickett. Well, the slip may have helped him. The hand pass not so good though. Jones falling to the ground, kept it alive, was pushed in the back, and he'll get the free kick. As he tried to get it up to Bandy, it was Powell who pushed him.
Just a touch of cramp there for Jones as he took that. Holland, Brody Holland, and Tasmanian, off he goes. No one on the mark. The kick's not a good one. And just sitting back there is Luke Darcy. Scott Wine having a rest on the interchange bench.
Ramiro.
Yep, to Ramiro's got him. Generally straightens the play up, does Jose, but he's held up here now. Short to Stephen Powell. On the left foot. In towards half forward. Grant, oh, how did he get that? Well, not the clip across here. How did he get the ball?
That is the marks of a champion. We know the deeds that Chris Grant's done over a long period of time now, but that is a sensational mark to keep your balance in the air. The body-on-body contact was certainly there from Jones, but he just kept his balance, whereas Jones lost the feel of the body, lost the ability to keep his feet. But that is a sensational one-on-one contest mark by a champion that he is, Chris Grant.
Number 3 mark taker in the competition. 25 years of age. Game number 177, so a lot of football still in front of this young man. From 50 metres out, Chris Grant, relaxed. Right to the line, just a touch too relaxed.
Gee.
2 centimetres too relaxed. I think that's about all it fell short on.
Is it fair to say, Terry, that he doesn't actually kick through the ball from those set play situations?
It's very interesting, Mick. When Chris first started, he was very, very tense. And the thing that Bernie Quinlan worked on Chris was to really relax his style. Just sometimes I think it's too relaxed and he doesn't hit the ball hard enough. As if you play a round of golf with a 7 and 8 iron rather than a 3 iron, I would suggest. Dodd on the left foot, out towards the wing for the Dockers. Sinclair still out there, still working hard, sees it over the line for a throw-in.
Margin 48 points. Grant's got 3 goals, possibly could have had 5 or 6, and yet Jones hasn't played badly. The traffic coming down in that direction has been very difficult for Jones to deal with. Bandy's in front. Backhands it down. Gale got a fist in there, but only as far as Ramiro. Twisting, turning. He's been so good. Away to Smith. Smith has booted 5 goals. Kicks it down towards centre half forward. Favoured by the kick is Chisholm. Chisholm Across half back to O'Reilly. McGovern is running for him. That's ignored. Little one up to Dodd. McGovern is still running. Now he's got the ball through the centre square. McGovern can take a shot. He can run to 50. Whoops. Southern into Mines. McGovern in about 3. He popped it over the head of Hunter. And now Johnson's got the footy. That didn't work too well. Johnson back to Smith. Rebound opportunity now for the Dogs. Smith long to half forward. Grant props over the top. Jones in front doing well. O'Reilly just gets away. Forward of half back. Back towards half forward. Holland goes up and takes the mark. Brodie Holland forward of the wing. Kicks long inside the 50. Sinclair worked out of it. In front, Crediuk claims the mark. Could have been taken high. It spills to Wirra. Good shepherd by Wind. Bought him some time just going across the path of Wills, and now Hudson has the ball.
On and off the interchange bench, Paul Hudson still has 2 goals to his name. The kick not a good one. Kickett takes it to Dodd. 11 to 12. 12's in all sorts of trouble. 44 can't get down to it, but here's Chris Bond on the burst from 45 out directly in front. Chris Bond has rammed it home. So from a chain of misdirected handballs, Chris Bond straightens the game up and picks up the Dockers' 9th goal.
They certainly are risk takers, aren't they, the Fremantle Dockers? They're prepared to use the handball in certain stages, and here we see Kick at the build-up. Tried to do the right thing, got the ball back into the centre corridor. Dodd went to kick the ball, but tried to find Bandy. He probably was running into traffic if he had to receive the ball anyway. It's probably a better option. The ball went to ground. The loose ball fell into the path of Chris Bond, who went forward 30 metres out from goal and kicked a good goal.
We keep saying it, but you can't always be a playmaker. Sometimes you've simply got to kick the ball. Ramiro had it knocked away. Wills still they got a goal from the last one, so we shouldn't be too harsh. Hunter was up, couldn't hang on. In goes Sinclair. Likes to put his body about. They battle after it. Johnson not happy. Makes a point to the umpire as he gets up, and we'll have a ball up. 3/4 time is with us, and that was a terrible quarter for the Dockers. They trailed by just 20 points at halftime, and it's blown out now to 42. But the Western Bulldogs, particularly in the first half of that term, played some irresistible football. And Scott West, when it counted, really put his foot on the accelerator. He's got 23 possessions now to halftime, and Ramiro has 25. So those men who were dangers coming in have certainly lived up to their billing. And the defence has been under pressure. Jared Neesham needs to manufacture something of a miracle here. His side in trouble, very important game. His side cruising, they're on top of the table, and they're looking for their 10th win of the season, 15-11 to 9-5 at Optus. Scoring end is left of screen, but the breeze almost directly across the ground now. 15-11, 9-5, away we go. Bandy up, Toya. It ricocheted off Bandy's body. Toya hooks it down towards half forward. Waterhouse had it knocked away by Curley. Coming in strongly as Wirra. Got the hand pass to Curley. Curley out wide. This is Crediuk. Crediuk kicks it up towards the wing. Garlick's in front. Toya did well to knock it away. Garlick knocks it towards the boundary line, and it's across.
20 disposals to Simon Garlick. So he's been right in the thick of it. Has spent different times on the interchange bench this year, but every game with the Bulldogs since coming down from Sydney last year. Wind with the right hand. Goalwood, but Kickett is the first one back. Into the centre, McGovern. Directly across the ground now to O'Reilly. Needed to bounce a little bit better for the big fella, but now he's got it. Some support run from Jones. He's had a torrid day against Grant, and Grant's still with him, but Jones wins it out. Very well done. Sinclair. Jones continues on. Shepherd's for Sinclair. Back around on the left. Not quite sure now where to go. Stands up. Kicks on the left. Inside 50 there. Waterhouse backs back. West with Dimartina. Back to West. To Montgomery. Thought about going back to West, but he's had enough of the footy today, Scott West. 25's enough. He's on average, so they decided not to give it to him. Simon Garlick. Wind offering a short option. Decides to go over him towards Martin. Too good. Superior judgment of the flight of the ball there to Gale. To Waterhouse. They need to make a burst here, the Dockers. They're very stagnant in their approach. Oh. No, the umpires pulled it up.
Amazing.
So both
play,
Dennis and Mick have called McGovern, who was standing inside 50, 40 metres out from goal, pretty much by himself.
And 40 metres by himself, I dare say too, Terry. I just couldn't believe Clive Waterhouse didn't see him free in that part of the ground, directly in his vision.
So umpire Andrew Coates, for some reason, held it up and brought the ball back to Waterhouse. On and off the bench, only had the one kick, Clive, and he's kicked the one goal with that one kick. I doubt if number 2 kick will be his second goal. It wobbles in, 15 metres out. Michael does the body work there with credit. West goes for the line. Darcy makes sure of it with an own goal.
And I just think that's just a kick and hope situation there by Clive Waterhouse. He tried to do the torpedo punt and actually get distance with his kick, but I think in that part of the ground you can set it up in a better, more methodical way. Just get it into that hotspot part of the ground and hopefully one of your tools can take a telling mark.
Cameron comes away, kicks it up towards the wing. Gale missed it. Parker, half chance, socket down towards left half forward by Martin. Approaching the ball, Grant rolled across his back there. Jones hasn't got it. No free kick. Coming out of the pack, Ramiro feeds it back. This is Cox against the line. Kicks inside the 50. Going back is Croft. Well played by Chisholm. Got a fist on it and directed it out of bounds. Scott Chisholm having a bit to say. The Dockers trail it by 41 points. Darcy coming across. And Bandy there now for the Dockers. Darcy in front. Bandy made it look easy that time. Snatched it. Kicks it back towards the wing. Garlick leading in one direction. Wills in the other. The 2 number 4s. They're on a collision course out there. Wills, they played it pretty well. Gets past Ramiro. So Wills forward of half back. Pulls it back towards the middle. Hunter shuffles away. Kicks inside the 50. 1-out contest. Callahan fighting out of his division. Crediuk goes after him. Callahan brilliantly done. Sinclair deep in the pocket. Sends it back towards the kick-off line. Callahan favoured by the bounce. Point-blank range, kicks a goal. That was better.
Yeah, Dennis, you've hit that nut right in the head. A little bit better in their approach coming forward. The Fremantle Dockers, young Jess Sinclair, had the presence of mind to just hold the ball up for that critical second or so, just so that the Western Bulldogs defenders had to come and meet the ball carry. As we see here, delayed the handball, gave Callahan a little bit of space required to run into the goal square. Admittedly, the handball didn't find its target, but it sat up nicely. Craig Callahan went in for the easiest of goals.
So Callahan's first goal, he becomes the 8th goal scorer for the Fremantle Dockers. Same number have the Western Bulldogs, but they have Smith with 5, Grant with 3. And only 2 multiple goal scorers for the Dockers. Mark Gale has 2 and Daniel Bandy has 2. Therein lies the difference. Coming into the game, the Western Bulldogs had kicked 51 goals more than the Dockers. So it was always going to be a bit of a shootout the game. Bond working hard at half back to Wills. He just kicks on up towards half forward. Curly spoils from Waterhouse. Sinclair again at the bottom of the contest. Roves it well. Kick number 12. Rolls on in towards Waterhouse. To make something he can't. Just hovers there. Think he had more time. You don't have that much time in footy here. And Scotty West snaffles him up from behind.
No advantage. Ball has to come back, Terry.
I just can't believe some of the Dockers, they just think they have more time than there actually is here. And when you get up into the class of playing against the number 1 side in the competition, you don't have that time. So West kick to the wing. O'Reilly has plenty of players directly across the ground from him, but really wants something forward. Gets something with Parker to Gale. Ramiro very strong on the smother. Returns to Croft. His kick's not a good one into the forward line. Chisholm waits. There's run from behind. It's Grant looking to gather the ball back to Smith, to Darcy. Lay it down, put it out onto the road. Bang!
Yes, that goal certainly was evolved because of the great smother by Jose Ramiro. But as you said, Terry, they had no one forward of the kicker. They tried to get the ball to the centre corridor with the handball inside. But he ran out of space to the Fremantle Docker team. But what a terrific smother by Jose Ramiro. You can see him on the screen. He's still pushing forward. He was out. Actually, it was either him or Darcy who could have got the handball here from Rowan Smith. Either of them could have capitalised on the goal. But that's great running, great defensive attributes that Jose Ramiro has got.
16-11, 10-6, 15.5 minutes till full time. Bandy is up, knocked it down. Wine, though, picked up the crumb. Slapped out of there by Toyer eventually. Montgomery. Long kick inside the 50. Well and truly Jones wrestles with Grant. Grant knocked the ball goalward. Now he goes again. Chris Grant back to goal this time. Controls it pretty well. Very high kick. It floats across the ground. Kick it. Gets underneath it and takes the mark.
Footy Record said today the scariest moment in his life was when he was run over when he was an 8-year-old. Perhaps there was another one there.
Could have happened again. Yes, Montgomery comes away. Here's Grant. Gave a contest. Jones couldn't hang on. Was he taken high there, Parker? Not according to the umpire. Yes. Ooh. He's played it for over the shoulder. But I'm not sure it was. Parker. Now O'Reilly out of the back pocket. It was close. O'Reilly up towards the wing. Waterhouse outnumbered 2-on-1 in the air, and a man waiting down in front. Not good odds. Montgomery comes away. Took a while, but affected the kick. The chase was good from Wills. O'Reilly once more. Finding a bit of form today, and that's heartening for the Dockers. To Bandy. Kicks it up towards the wing. Stretching is Callaghan, and he's not pleased with that pass.
Well, I'd say Daniel Bandy's not pleased with Callaghan's height.
I think we've explored that fully. So we've got a boundary throw in on the wing. Bandy and Wine. Wine could have been taken high. West got it away. Ramiro, what a game he's played. Powell. Now Wirra. Ramiro relishing the opportunity to run hard. Gets it across to Hudson. Good work by Bond. Got him by the leg, but it stopped him. Ramiro back to goal now. They'll build again. Garlick smothered off the boot by Toyer. Dodd was up, couldn't hang on. It wouldn't have been a mark in any case. Powell goes through. Smith feeds it back. This is Croft. Open goal. Wide of the target. And a behind. He's played well today, Croft.
Very versatile player for Terry Wallace to work with is Matt Croft. From a very good hereditary background of football. His father, John, a champion player at Mildura for many, many years. So we'll leave all that behind us as the Dockers move it towards the outer side through Jones to Hunter. And towards centre half forward. Toyer works back into it. Waterhouse comes forward towards it. His handball doesn't go to a Docker. Cox turns it back around. Quick exchange through West. Ends up now with Powell. Forward to Darcy. Just lopes through the wing. The short passing towards half forward. Not a real good one, but Grant makes something out of it. Wheels around on the left. 45 out on the left foot. It's offline and just the one behind.
It just goes to show the difference between the two sides. It's the Fremantle Dockers who tend to go really wide trying to set up, but I think that's a reflection on not having a key forward. On the other hand, the Western Bulldogs try to get the ball back into the centre corridor, play through their two targets in Rowan Smith and Chris Grant, and all of a sudden you get a chance to put scoreboard pressure on the opposition.
The Dockers, who kicked 11 goals after half-time last week, this week being this stage held to only just 3.
Dodd down towards half forward. Clever mark is taken by Cameron. Now he's going to be penalised. Sinclair, he's tried hard. He's in right half forward. Centering kick. Plenty of Bulldogs there, and the mark is held by Brad Wirra. It's a talk fest. Still going. Oh. Wirra. Happens when you get excited. There's Cameron. Driving it out towards the wing. What a jostling out there. Toyer missed it. Montgomery back onto it. Well played. Montgomery settles, pulls it back towards the middle. The mark is held by Smith. Away he goes. Smith just inside the centre square. Probing kick. Hudson almost the clever mark. Couldn't rake it in. After it goes Jones. Off the ground by Hudson. They've got another one.
Once again, Terry, we've seen the ball getting back into the centre corridor. This time it was Rowan Smith. The penetration with his leg speed and also his kicking of the ball is a delight to watch. As we see here, balances up, gets onto his good kicking leg. Paul Hudson used the body well in the marking contest, but unfortunately didn't take the mark. But his recovery was a lot better than Dale Kickett's. A loose ball was hitting his path and kicked the ball off the ground from the easiest of goals.
So Paul Hudson, who has goaled in every game, has kicked 3 for the 7th time this year. And the Bulldogs now starting to rampage forward. West to half forward. Bounces over the top. Kick it. Controls it at half-back. Works with Parker. Out to Callaghan. Has Bandy. And just... Well, was that giving back what Bandy gave to him earlier?
If Wills has got a sense of humour or Bandy's got a sense of humour, they should give him a pay now.
Wind, who's been so very good for the Dogs. In control, 11 hit outs. Only 2 kicks, 12 handballs. 5th year as skipper. And he can control a game and can control his side. West plays it along in front of him, keeps it going. Forced to sit on it now with Waterhouse, and Werra does the same on top of Waterhouse, but the umpire will bounce it. And the handballs there. Well, Mick, it was always going to be a bit of a handball game between these two sides, wasn't it?
Yeah, the Western Bulldogs are certainly one of the highest ones in the competition for handballs received. They certainly give it to their teammate who's running forward of the ball carrier. Obviously, it's a policy of theirs to do that. They certainly run hard to receive.
Holland receives it back from Waterhouse, kicks towards the square, and there's a mark to Hunter. The Bulldog fans looking for the free kick, but that was pretty fair and pretty legal. A quiet day for Kingsley. He's had 6 kicks, 5 marks, kicked to 1 goal. That was in the first quarter. 10 goals, 5. So the odds are with Kingsley Hunter. 10 goals, 5 for the season. 30 metres out, directly in front. He's got 1 for them. So the second goal of the final quarter to the Dockers, matching 2 to the Bulldogs.
Yeah, I think the Western Bulldogs have certainly controlled most of the game, but no doubt the Fremantle Dockers haven't given up. But I think in situations like that, when you are getting beaten by 6 or 7 goals on the scoreboard, I think you've got to try to make an effort to run inside to receive rather than playing extremely wide like the Dockers do, trying to manufacture something rather than playing with a direct approach.
The official attendance today, 16,515. The margin, 53 points right here. Wind. Jose was taken high, no doubting that. Advantage is paid. Croft comes away, kicks it very high inside the 50. Jones. What a resolute defender he is. Played only 7 games last season, dogged by injury. In 96, a terrific state of origin player. Here's Kickett. Holtz kicks it towards the outer side eventually. Dodd gets back. Dodd still in the back pocket. Goes short to Kickett. Less than 10 minutes to go. Kickett up towards the wing, and Toya plays on immediately to Dodd. Some of their finish a little untidy. 2 bad hand passes in a row there. Toya made it look okay though. That's better. Came across to McGovern from Michael. And the short one finds Hunter. Hunter, a centering kick. Well, it was intended for Bond, but Hudson came across, took the mark, plays on immediately. That's untidy as well. Across half back, free running ball. Clement just back onto the ground, could have been holding it. Scotty West, hand pass to his boot, coming through his Wills. Wills shrugs a tackle, hand passes Goldwood inside the attacking 50 for the Dockers, but Curley gets back, peeling off his Darcy. Short one, Crediuk. He'll be first back. Gale was overcommitted. Crediuk hard against the line, kicks it down towards half forward, and Croft through his fingertips. O'Reilly waiting behind, miscues with a hand pass. Guess who? Oh, Jose. And that was very crude by young Holland. Ramiro very lucky to be able to get up here. Jose coming up for possession number 31. Watch this again. Oh dear. Anyway, the ball inside the 50. Jones knocks it away, scrambles after it, goes again, but weight of numbers tells the story. The hand pass looped over the top to Grant from Curley. Untidy kick, but it bounces to Powell. Powell blazes away. He likes the result.
Yeah, certainly another team-orientated goal. Once again, Chris Grant involved. He could add a ping at the goals, whether it be left foot or even straighten up on his dominant side, that being his right side. But on this occasion, he decided to chip the ball back inside to the loose players of the Western Bulldogs. This time it was Powell. don't know who it was actually intended for. I think it might have been intended for Hudson, but Power was there. He mopped up the loose ball and kicked the easiest of goals.
So in the 5 previous games between these two sides, the greatest winning margin was 31 points to the Fremantle side. The Bulldogs' greatest winning margin was 18 points. It's been blown out of the water here today. At the moment, it's 49 points the Bulldogs lead. Again at half-back, Johnson been cleaning up there all day, worked with Montgomery, back to Johnson. The left foot kick is good. Powell's been very busy since coming on the ground. Disposal number 15 wasn't all that good, and Jose sees it over the line.
Terry, just a quick one. When you were coaching Chris Grant, did he have that same unselfish attitude close to goals? Because being a forward, normally you'd think that he'd just have a quick shot.
Yeah, fair call, Fly. I think that's always been one of the qualities of Chris, but sometimes he can get a little bit too cute in giving the ball off, and you would like him to use it towards goal more often. He's kicked 3 behinds, Grant. And there's the height difference between he and Jones. Jones asked to do that week in, week out for the Dockers. Big ask, but he keeps coming up. Danny Southern just back onto the ground, spending time on the interchange bench. Missed last year's final series through suspension, so he's one player who will want to be back there. Second year in a row the Dogs have been on top of the ladder at the halfway mark of the season, so it's no reason to suggest they won't stay there now. The Dockers continue to work it around on the outer side, right hard against the boundary line. Don't perhaps bring it inboard enough. Dodd kicks towards centre half forward Clement, back on the ground. Sinclair pushed around by Crediuk, and then the smother from the Holland kick was good by Smith, and the ball will be thrown in.
And doesn't that typify what real good teams are all about? Not only do they win the ball and run forward and really create for each other, but their work ethic in the defensive part of the game is extremely high.
McGovern gets away, runs into an open goal, and I think he's missed. Goal umpire's gone a long way. No, it's a goal. Andrew McGovern on the run. Things opening up nicely.
Well, that's a surprise. I mean, that's Andy McGovern's only his 2nd goal for the Dockers in over 50 games. If he's got to kick them a winning score, they're in trouble.
That is a valid point, Terry, but there's no doubt it always evolved because not a lot of players around that boundary throw in. The ball ran loose into the path of Andrew McGovern, picked up the ball at ground level and kicked an easy goal.
So the Dockers still plugging on. Michael beaten hands down by Wyand, who boots it down towards half forward. Unkind bounce for O'Reilly. Jones waiting back there, hacks his way through, smothered off the boot though. Comes to Garlick. Garlick lost it between his legs, dragged off it by Toyer. Holland hit it hard. Hand pass comes out from Parker. Down goes Sinclair. Bit lucky there. He lost his balance. Hand passes out to Callaghan. Callaghan the short one. There's Shane Parker, left half forward. Well, Wyand has got it. Only 5 metres away. It was kicked directly into his hands. Just had to put them up. Martin battles on again, taken front on by Toyer. Looping hand pass. West has to wait. Feeds it wide. Cameron. Hand passes towards the boundary line. Garlick grabs it. Garlick hugs the boundary with a kick. It's floating close to the line. Takes a bounce and goes across. And the Dockers need to be careful here. They need to keep kicking a score. The Bulldogs ranked number 1 in points production in the AFL for first quarters and last quarters, averaging 30 in the first term. They got 37 today and 31 in the last quarter. So they finish on strong. They enjoy it as Cox gets it across to Martin. Bond the smother knocks it across the line. 121-78. Fremantle have got Carlton next week in Perth. Wyand could have almost been held there, and it's going to be a free kick for Scott Wyand just outside the 50. There's Brown on a lead. Martin takes the hand pass from Wyand, pulls it back towards full forward. Big leap down there. I think it was Montgomery who was up very early, and Kickett comes away.
Through the centre of the ground. inexplicably comes back on out wide again when they needed to keep going straight. Waterhouse takes the mark though. More running board. It's into Holland. Settles, kicks now towards the lead, towards Clement. That's better. That's as good as they've been all day, isn't it, Mick?
Yeah, for sure, Terry. And you just see then, once you get the ball back into the centre corridor, all of a sudden the forward who's actually leading the ball carry, instead of leading to congestion, he has got the opportunity to lead to the open side of the field, as Clement did on that occasion. And that's what you've got to do when you win the ball in the midfield area. Get the ball inboard, the centre corridor, so it gives your forwards an extra dimension to work with.
Begs the question why James Clement has spent so much time on the bench. There's his kick. He's got his second goal. One in the first, one in the last. That was as purposeful as they've been back inside. Brodie Holland creating the run from behind that we've seen primarily from the Western Bulldogs, Mick, but a very good lead again by Clement.
Yeah, for sure. It just goes to show, once you get off the mark quickly, as Clive Waterhouse did on this occasion, Brodie Holland, that's a terrific kick. Kick to the advantage of his teammate and James Clement. He led hard, got off his opponent in Credihook, but he had the space to do so. That's the pertinent point. He led to the open side of the field, and that's what you do when you get to the open side of the field.
Clock running down, Wind and Michael go at it again. Here's Sinclair, the hand pass down towards half forward. West gets away, was taken high, advantage is paid. West kicks it out wide. Here's Parker. That's Shane Parker. He's battled hard. Got a good shepherd from Wills. Down went Jose. He's collected a few this afternoon. Dodd, close to the boundary line, chips it to McGovern. 37 points the margin. Andrew McGovern across to Toya. He's got it about 55 metres out. And Toya squares the ball. Clement dives, couldn't hang on. Picked up by Credihook. A couple of men there trying to apply the tackle, but Credihook did brilliantly. Got it to Garlick. Garlick through midfield. It bounces down towards half forward. Coming back is O'Reilly. Gets there first. Fumbles. Grant missed him. In goes Brown. O'Reilly dives into Brown. And the ball up about 60 metres out from the Bulldogs' attacking goal.
I think you mentioned it in the third quarter. I think it's pleasing to see Stephen O'Reilly starting to get a bit of touchback, Dennis. He's had a fairly good game. He's had 17 possessions, but more importantly, taken 9 marks, and it is a positive sign from the Fremantle Dockers.
So the Bulldogs lead 121-84. Toya through the centre of the ground. Just as they scored last time, he's gone for Clement. He aimed, but it doesn't reach. Montgomery, cross half-back, works with Curley. To the wing to Martin. The Bulldogs racking up possessions now. Kicks to Garlick. Over the top. He and Brodie Holland in the chase for the ball. Holland from behind, keeps it there. Hudson comes into support, somehow finds the front gate, goes back into Garlick. Short kick's a good one. Stephen Powell, been very busy since coming off the bench, gets another shot at goal here. Played the last 2 games coming in today, was very good against Kim Costa last week. Kicked 1 goal earlier in this quarter. There it is, so Stephen Powell. Made his debut in round 6 last year with a couple of goals, but injuries then stopped his senior appearances. Very deliberate. Steve Powell, left foot for his second. I think it's slid across the face. He's happy with it. Is the goal umpire? No. So 1 behind. The Bulldogs continue to build upon their lead. 18-14 now. Shane Parker to kick it. Got there.
Hudson's got a long memory. He remembers that incident in the previous quarter, very early on. Kick it short to Bond. Less than 2 minutes to go now. 122-84. Bond out of the back pocket. Chisholm.
Yes, his number was taken, I would suggest now, Chisholm.
Awkward one out there. Not a good kick, but O'Reilly helped himself. Runs up towards the wing. Little chip pass taken millimetres from the ground there by Michael. He goes to Dodd. Dodd forward of the wing to Callahan just outside the 50. Short one is on to McGovern. That's ignored. He goes looking for the lead. In fact, Toya gets in front of Clement, who was on the lead from the goal square. And Luke Toya can take a shot at goal. Could only be about 30 metres out. Quite a sharp angle. If he kicks a goal here, the margin will be back to 32 points. Of course, the game's all over, but I think the final score could flatter Fremantle, even if he does steer this one straight. The Bulldogs generally since half-time in total control. Luke Toyer. It's a pretty good effort from there. That's a lovely kick. Goal for the Dockers.
Yeah, and Luke Toy has been a particularly good player for the Fremantle Dockers since coming on the ground in the early stage of the third quarter. He's had 13 and 3 and kicked 1 goal. That's his first for the day. But he's worked tirelessly in the midfield area. The centre bounces, he's been good. Tried to create some run, work hard in that phase of the game. And that occasion, he just drifted forward at the percentage time, got into the vision of Callaghan, who gave him a well-weighted kick. More importantly, Luke Toyer went back and kicked a great goal.
So Toyer gets his first. 32 points now, the difference. Under a minute of play, Toyer again came on at half-time. Luke Toyer will now have his 17th disposal, 5 marks, 1 goal, 1. So now it's 14 kicks, 3 handballs. Give it off to O'Reilly. Left foot to Clement's good.
Yeah, I'm with you, Terry. It's remarkable that Clement spent so much time on the bench, isn't it? Because he is a long-range scorer of goals.
And that's where they've struggled. They've got to within 60 metres and they haven't been sure all day about what to do with the ball.
Because he'll get the distance here, won't he?
And during this last quarter, he has provided a leading option all the time. So here he goes. This is a good, long, strong kick from Clement. He's kicked 3. So the Dockers keep pegging away at it. But it's all to no avail in the last quarter.
Yeah, and this is the first stage of the game that they've actually outscored the Western Bulldogs. At this occasion, it's 6 goals to 3 in this particular quarter, that being the last. But James Clinton, he does lead hard. He gets up the ground. He knows that he's a very good kick for goal. The further he gets out for goal, he's got that great ability to keep the ball straight when kicking for goal. The percentages say when you get out from 50, more often than not, the ball will deviate off its line. But James Clinton, when he kicks truly, it does keep its line, and that's for sure.
So wait for the siren right here. Very little time remaining. There it is. Michael knocks it down to Callaghan. James Clement finishing with 22 goals for the season as a result of his 3 this afternoon. 2 bags of 5 consecutive weeks. Rounds 3 and 4 against the Eagles and Essendon, but too little too late this afternoon. The Western Bulldogs improve their situation. A little cushion at the top of the table. And they did enough today. They were tested early in the game, but when it counted, when they had to put their stamp on this one, they were able to. And they're a classy outfit. A couple of youngsters with a background. Sinclair and Brown. I think from memory, teammates in the under-18s. The Dockers had their chances early. Good to see young Michael going across to Scott Wine too as we go down to Ruthville Morris.
Thanks, Dennis. Chris, hard fought in the end, really, because you had a bit of trouble against the Dockers in the previous 2 encounters.
Yeah, we've had, they've really run us around the last couple of times, especially in Perth. And, we were setting ourselves for a big first round here last year and they knocked us off. So, yeah, we had to get one back up on them and even the ledge up a little bit. But, we didn't finish off that well today. But in the middle of the game, when it was there to be won, the guys really put their head down and it was a good win in the end.
What's been going through the guys' minds, sitting on top of the ladder, a couple of games clear? Is it, how do you get away from being complacent?
Oh, well, Player doesn't allow you to be complacent at all. He's right on our guard all the time. And I think the guys are handling it very well at the moment. We've had a couple of tough games over the last couple of weeks and we've responded very well. Next week we've got to travel across to Port Adelaide and they're a very, very good side over there, so it's another good test for us.
What about your own form? You happy with the way you're playing at the moment?
Yeah, I should have kicked a couple of goals that I missed, but getting my hands on the ball and taking a few grabs. So,
you noticed that you're sharing the ball around a lot in the forward line. You could have had a ping a couple of times, but you actually gave it away.
Yeah, that's the team reel, really. You're having a shot from the boundary line. You've got to send it for the other guys.
You're a forward.
Unfortunately, we don't get to have a shot from there, but it's working okay.
Congratulations.
Johnny Russell.
One of the real superstars of the AFL, Chris Grant of the Western Bulldogs. 23 possessions today, 7 marks. He booted 3 goals. A real interesting duel with Anthony Jones. Final scoreline, it was the Western Bulldogs 18-14 over the Fremantle Dockers 15-6.